Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Welcome inside Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana, as the Syracuse Orange take a road trip to take on the number 2 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Quickly apologize for the technical difficulties here as Syracuse did kick it off to Notre Dame. Notre Dame losing the toss to Syracuse, and Syracuse elects to defer to the second half, and it is already 3rd down and 3 here on the field at Notre Dame Stadium. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties, but happy for everybody to join now. Hopefully everybody finds it out okay. Nonetheless, the Syracuse Orange, a huge opportunity to go on the road and take on a very talented Notre Dame team. Obviously, ranked number 2 in the country, 3rd down and 4. Ian Book dropping back. Screen pass to the left side. It's going to be a 1st down and more for Notre Dame, and the reception that time by Avery Davis, the 5'11", 202-pound senior from Cedar Hill, Texas. The final game this season at Notre Dame Stadium for the Fighting Irish, and they have a chance to go to the ACC championship in a couple of weeks, followed by a possible college football playoff berth. Syracuse, on the other hand, this will be their final go about it this year. They come in at 1-9 on the season. Notre Dame, a beautiful undefeated 9-0 record for the Irish fans. Ian Book under center, 1st down and 10 from the 40, dropping back, pressure coming, lets one fly down the middle of the field. This one is tipped away, nearly caught, but Garrett Williams, the freshman for Syracuse, comes up with a humongous play there. The intended receiver down the field for Notre Dame was Joe Wilkins Jr., but Garrett Williams, though just a freshman, came up with what looked like a savvy veteran play for Syracuse. Now it'll be 2nd down and 10, and that could have been a gash down the field for the Fighting Irish starting out this ball game early. Nonetheless, they have it at their own 40, 2nd down and 10. Book, handoff up the middle here. And making the stop that time for Syracuse was Jihad Carter. Kyron Williams on the carry for Notre Dame, and he leads the way in rushing for this team so far this season. So the 3-3-5 for Syracuse worked earlier, forcing a 3rd down, but then a screen pass set it up for Notre Dame to get the chains moving. We've already played almost 3 minutes here at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. 3rd down and 7 for Syracuse. Ian Book in the shotgun, drops back, lets one fly to the left side. It's going to be a 1st down and more down the left sideline. And trucking his way out of bounds that time for Notre Dame, it's Ben Skowronek. And he's got himself a 1st down, plenty more yards. The Fighting Irish are driving now well into Syracuse territory. Syracuse just lost him on a slant route through the middle, and Ian Book was able to deliver a perfect pass past the sticks low. Skowronek was able to make the catch, and he had open field space in front of him. He's had 15 receptions for over 200 yards in the last couple of games. Another screen pass, this time to the halfback, and Syracuse is there to make the stop. The initial tackle by Marlowe Wax for the Orange. And a different tailback in now to receive that pass for Notre Dame. It was Chris Tyree. Only a freshman on this team out of Chester, Virginia is Tyree, and they really like the future of what this kid can produce for Notre Dame. A lot at stake for Notre Dame today, but a lot at stake for Syracuse as well. This could be a job-saving kind of win if you're head coach Dino Babers, and a huge opportunity to close out the season. Wide receiver screen again. They've been killing Syracuse with. It'll be a first down and more. Plenty on that one for Notre Dame. It's Ben Skowronek once again. He's a big wide receiver out there for Notre Dame. 6'3", 224. He's a graduate student, so he's playing in his fifth year. He's a local kid out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he's actually a transfer from Northwestern. So has experience playing in this part of the country, absolutely, in Indiana, playing against teams like Purdue and the Indiana Hoosiers. First down and 10. 10:28 left to go. Notre Dame has it past the 25. Handoff up the middle, getting about 5 or 6 that time for Notre Dame, is going to be the leading ball carrier, Kyron Williams. So Notre Dame already knocking on the door of the end zone here. And it's the initial drive of the ball game. Last game at Notre Dame Stadium this season, as I said, and handful of fans in the stands today in Indiana. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees chatting with his quarterback Ian Book, as Ian Book now back into the play in the shotgun. Receiver coming out, pressure coming for Book. Lets one fly to the end zone, and on the ground that time was the tailback, Kyron Williams, and he just kind of slipped. He made the catch, but bounced off the ground and came up into his chest. So it'll be 3rd down and 5 in the red zone for this Syracuse defense. They've held them to 2 third downs thus far. Notre Dame has since converted those. So 9:41 left to go. Play clock's at 24. 3rd down and 5. Garrett Williams had a big tip earlier to force a 3rd down on this drive. It's the first drive of the ball game. Ian Book in the shotgun. Syracuse showing blitz. They will. Pressure coming. Book lets one fly to the end zone, and it's tipped away. Nearly a touchdown there for the Fighting Irish. But instead, getting a hand on that one for Syracuse was Robert Hanna. The intended receiver for Notre Dame was Giovanni McKinley, and it'll be 4th down and a field goal try. McKinley had a great shot at it. It was a perfect throw by Book. And how about Robert Hanna coming up to make a play? And actually, McKinley, as they show the replay from a separate angle, McKinley really drops that one. Hanna is there, but that was more of a drop on McKinley's behalf. Nonetheless, Syracuse will take it. It's a 25-yard field goal attempt for the Fighting Irish. And Jonathan Dorer's 25-yarder is up and good. So it's 3-0 on the initial drive of the ball game. Notre Dame leads it over Syracuse, but Robert Hanna comes up with a touchdown-saving play against the wide receiver, and it could have been a 7-0 lead. Really should have been for Notre Dame at this point. Nonetheless, Syracuse keeps them down to 3, but it is the first drive of the ball game, and it's always good to get points on the ensuing drive. So we'll take a look at some of the stat leaders right now for Notre Dame. I mean, this team is absolutely electric. You got to start with quarterback Ian Book. 2,097 yards, 12 touchdowns, and the biggest thing that stands out to me, 1 interception. Only 1 interception the entire year for Ian Book, and he's played some phenomenal football so far this season for the Fighting Irish, and 66% of his passes are completed. This guy's sensational for Notre Dame, has been for a long time, wearing number 12. It's his senior year. His last go-around, loved to make a push for the national championship. Notre Dame with that huge win a couple of weeks ago against the Clemson Tigers right here. That was the last time they played at their home stadium in South Bend, Indiana, and what a game it was. They rushed the field even during a pandemic. There was controversy about that, but it was an overtime win for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And then looking on the rest of this Notre Dame squad, tailback Kyron Williams, wearing number 23 in navy blue today. He's having himself quite a season as well. 160 carries, 901 yards, nearing 1,000 on the year, 12 touchdowns, averages nearly 6 yards a carry, 5.6 yards per carry every time this kid gets the ball. He's absolutely a threat down the field for Notre Dame. Now, Syracuse will come out. Tommy DeVito has been out the entire season, really, for Syracuse. Played the first couple of weeks. and just wasn't able to stay healthy. The production wasn't good anyways for Syracuse at that point. He comes out, and now Rex Culpepper came in for Syracuse for quite some time. He went out with an injury. They played Jacobian Morgan, the freshman, for a time. And Jacobian Morgan came out with an upper body injury, they call it. He was blasted a couple of weeks ago on the road at Louisville later in the game. And now Rex Culpepper back as the starting quarterback of this Syracuse football team. A senior, a redshirt senior for Syracuse. What a story. Survived testicular cancer just a couple of years ago and back on the field for the first time earlier this year through a touchdown pass. So absolutely a remarkable story for Rex Culpepper. Certainly a fan favorite. They did a special on him on College Game Day earlier today, which was really awesome to see. A nice packed house here at Notre Dame in the midst of a pandemic. Fair catch is caught and made by the senior Nykeem Johnson, and we're underway. Syracuse will take the possession. Some pushing and shoving, a little bit of chippiness taking place right now on the field. 9:32 left to go. No flags. Syracuse will start with the ball at the 25-yard line, and here comes Rex Culpepper with that long hair. Just painting a picture for you, Syracuse finishing off the season in orange helmets, white jerseys, and orange pants. On the other side, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, their classic uniforms of golden helmets, navy blue jerseys, and the golden pants. It's a little bit interesting to see Notre Dame with that ACC logo this season. That was also controversial coming into the year, but nonetheless, Syracuse is out to start offensively. Rex Culpepper, a costly mistake last week. We'll see if he can make up for it here with a huge win over Notre Dame. Culpepper, a pass up the middle, complete. Syracuse starting quickly. It's going to be a 15-yard completion. Taj Harris making the reception. It was a tough catch up high. Culpepper put it only where his 6', 264-pound junior wide receiver could get it, and the Orange moving quick. Now a handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker gets it, and he goes nowhere. Taken down at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down for Syracuse. But a good pass right off the get-go on a slant to Taj Harris by the senior quarterback, Rex Culpepper. Didn't love how he finished his final game in the Dome. Would love to make up for it, as I said, with a huge win. Really spoiling Notre Dame's season is what the Syracuse Orange have an opportunity to do. Pass complete to the right side. Taj Harris, once again, he gets himself about 7, and it'll be third down and short for Syracuse. Taj Harris with back-to-back receptions for the Orange, one for a first down, and now looking to do the same, which would be his third. Culpepper got the ball to him, and he was able to turn. It was a nice little hitch route and move upfield a little bit. Third down and 3. Culpepper drops back. Receiver out in motion. It's Sean Tucker making the catch on the right sideline. First down and about 7 more for Syracuse. The Orange moving the chains on back-to-back sets. And Rex Culpepper throwing himself some dimes. Sean Tucker just turned and looked for it at the exact moment. I don't think you can make a better throw if you're the quarterback. Rex Culpepper right there. Now Syracuse past midfield into Notre Dame territory at the 45. Some trickery. A jet sweep, and it's Taj Harris on the left side. A lot of running for minimal gain. He'll get maybe 3 or 4 on that one. It'll be second down for Syracuse, but they're driving well inside Notre Dame territory now. Clock continues to wind. A quick moving first quarter, under 8 minutes to play. Culpepper, 23 for 45 last week, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, had himself a game, but couldn't get the job done. Another pass up the middle, tipped off the hands of Anthony Quealy. Should have been a first down for Syracuse, was nearly intercepted. Good thing there wasn't a defensive back around it. On second down, Culpepper couldn't complete it to the wide receiver, the youngster, sophomore, number 14, Anthony Quealy. That's one that he has to gobble up. It would have been a first down for Syracuse. Now they face a third down and 6. Just past the Notre Dame logo, at about the 41-yard line, reside the Orange. Culpepper dropping back. Good hold by the offensive line. Pass was intended for either Sean Tucker or Luke Benson to the left side, and it went over both of their heads. Nobody was able to make the catch. Seemed like a little bit of miscommunication. Dino Babers does not appear happy for Syracuse, and why would you be when your team comes into this ball game at 1-9 on the season and really choked one away at home last week? So it's a 3-0 advantage still for Notre Dame. 4th and 6. Syracuse will be forced to punt it here. Nolan Cooney, the senior, in his final game for the Orange. had big shoes to fill with Sterling Hoffrichter being drafted to the National Football League. He filled them very well. And he'll take the first punt. Syracuse had some consecutive first downs. Didn't do a bad job at all. A nice punt here for Nolan Cooney, and the fair catch is caught and made at about the 5-yard line. So a 36-yard punt out of Nolan Cooney. Notre Dame, a 3-0 advantage. They get the ball back, but they're well deep into their own territory. The man to make the fair catch was Matt Salimo. And my question is, why didn't he just let it go out of the back of the end zone? It was going to bounce at about the 5, and then you'd have to think it would roll back and have a good chance of getting in the end zone. Nonetheless, he elects to make a fair catch at about the 5-yard line for Notre Dame, and that's where Ian Book and company will take over after the TV timeout. So great college football games coming up later today. Of course, Coastal Carolina and BYU is the story this week. That's where College Game Day went. Crazy series of events. Originally, it was supposed to be Liberty and Coastal Carolina, and Liberty had some COVID-19 related issues. BYU swept in and they said, hey, we'll go play anywhere, anytime. So nonetheless, BYU and Coastal Carolina, number 18 versus number 13 in the country. Coastal Carolina, though, despite being ranked 18th, come in as looked at as pretty big underdogs in this one. And they would love to come away with a win. And so would BYU. BYU trying to make a case for the college football playoffs at this point. A lot of people say they don't have a chance. That's just how the committee thinks. But you could certainly boost your resume a little bit. And Coastal Carolina on the other side, obviously they know where they are in their conference, the Sun Belt Conference. They don't really have a chance for a national championship bid in the college football playoffs, despite an undefeated season. But what they're playing for is their own version of a national championship, which would be a New Year's Six Bowl, which would be astonishing for a team out of the Sun Belt like Coastal Carolina to go undefeated in these unprecedented times and get themselves to a New York Six Bowl. That would be absolutely sensational. So that's their hopes. A big game on the line tonight. Then Clemson and Virginia Tech are going to play at Lane Stadium later tonight. That's the ABC primetime game, 7:30 kickoff there in Blacksburg, Virginia. Virginia Tech trying to pull off an upset just like Syracuse is right now, and Clemson trying to squeak their way, remaining in the college football playoffs. A lot on the line for the Tigers. They can't afford a slip-up. A loss tonight would put them out of the conversation. And even if they win tonight, you have to think a second loss to Notre Dame in the ACC championship game would be very costly as well. Notre Dame already clinched a chance to play in the ACC championship. The question is, who will play against them? And really what the field looks like right now, Clemson wins tonight. They clinch that spot, and it would be a great rematch. If they lose tonight, they're out, possibly, because Miami would have to win this week and next week again. So Miami still has a chance. They need to win, and they need some help from Virginia Tech as well. So now a handoff up the middle here to start the second drive. Kyron Williams takes it about 2 yards. Tackle on the play by linebacker Michael Jones. He'll be on the show, Orange Sheet, next week. About Wednesday, we're going to have him on and do an interview, so I'm very excited about that at the conclusion of their season. 2nd down and 8. Ian Book in the shotgun. Man in motion to the right side. It's a wide receiver. There's only one wide receiver out there. Ian Book drops back. Pressure coming from the right side for Syracuse. Pass up the middle is complete to the tight end. Near the right side. Give him about 16 more. A huge play for Notre Dame, and they're really getting those chunk yardage situations. The pass complete to the tight end, Michael Mayer, 6'5", 235-pounder. He's only a freshman out of Kansas, and he had himself a big play right there. And that really is unfortunate for Syracuse because now it opens up the field for Notre Dame. It opens up this entire field so that they aren't crunched against the goal line there like they just were. Syracuse had him in a good spot, and they lost it. So Notre Dame, from their own 28-yard line, it's going to be a pitch to the left side of the wide receiver, Brandon Lenzy, and he has nowhere to go. Syracuse able to make a stop right there. 6:15 to play in the first quarter. Michael Jones came up big again for Syracuse at 2nd down. Still waiting. Yep, it's 2nd down and 10. So he's taken down right around the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 from the 28-yard line of Notre Dame. Ian Book claps his hands, dropping back in the shotgun. A good block here. Syracuse had a blitzer coming from the right side. And now a shoestring tackle can't be made that time by McKinley Williams. So instead, Ian Book scrambles, avoiding the sack. He gets himself about 3 or 4, it'll still be third down. Nonetheless, it'll be third down and much shorter than 10. Coming in to try and make a sack there was Marlowe Wax, and he had a good chance at it, but the running back, Kyron Williams, was really able to just dive at his legs and protect the quarterback there. So a great block out of the tailback. Third down and 5 for Notre Dame. Play action fake. Pass to the right side. And the tight end's taken down behind the line to gain. Not that time, Syracuse says. A big stop by the defense, and Notre Dame will face a fourth down. Tackle on the play that time for the Orange by Chase Atkinson. So what a play for Syracuse, and now Notre Dame will have to give them a ball back with a 3-point lead. That's a red zone stop for Syracuse to start the game, and now here they get another stop, this time still in Notre Dame territory, so they won't have bad field position here either. Fair catch caught and made off the punt. Nykeem Johnson did it. Syracuse will take the ball at their own 21-yard line when they come back after a TV timeout. So we'll take a look at some of the scores across the country, and Syracuse has an opportunity here to get the ball back and move down the field. One thing that I'm noticing, just looking at both quarterbacks, and I noticed this a lot throughout the season with Rex Culpepper, and I love Rex. Everyone does. Fan favorite. I had him on the show at one point. It was an absolute pleasure. But Rex's throws are, they're not exactly crisp. Sometimes they're a little bit lofted compared to a Tommy DeVito type throw. There's not really much spiral to them. They just kind of wobble out of his hands. And just looking on the other side, how Ian Book throws the football, it's a tight spiral. He gets it to where it needs to go. And that's why they marched down the field on the first drive. Syracuse able to stop them just shy of the first down marker. Otherwise, it would have been another first down for the tight end. It would have been back-to-back for Michael Mayer, but Syracuse comes up with a big stop. Amon Greenwood was in there to help the Orange defensively, and now Syracuse has a chance to get the ball back, and the defense showing up strong. That's been the story all year so far. So taking a look now at some of the scores across the country. A lot of big games today, as I mentioned. Third quarter, Oklahoma State and TCU. It's a good one. Only 7 seconds left in the third. Oklahoma State has the ball, ranked 15th in the country. They lead it 22-21 over the Horned Frogs. And then Texas A&M, number 5 in the country, lead it by a touchdown as well as a 2-point conversion, 28-20 over Auburn. 5:40 left to go in that ball game. It's the fourth. Michigan State and Ohio State, I think that's what everyone expected. No Ryan Day, no problem for the Buckeyes. 38-7 with a minute left to go in the third against Michigan State. And that's a road game for the Buckeyes as well in East Lansing. They had to make the trip without head coach Ryan Day. And not only that, 23 players on the Ohio State squad, including 3 starting offensive linemen, 3 starting defenders in the secondary, and a couple of linebackers, couple of bench players. But in all, 3 players able to play and make the trip to East Lansing due to COVID-19 related issues. But it seems like being men down was no problem for Ohio State so far, 38-7 advantage over Michigan State. So that's interesting to see. UNC is beating up on an in-state rival, Western Carolina. Fourth quarter, 5 minutes to go, 49-9 is the score there. And some other good ones coming up later today, like West Virginia, Iowa State is looked at to be a good one. Florida and Tennessee, Illinois and Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin. But we're back inside Notre Dame Stadium. Rex Culpepper sends one deep. Nobody is home. Not a single receiver. Taj Harris was well behind it. And instead, the Notre Dame secondary was a lot quicker, nearly intercepted that time. A couple of guys in the Notre Dame secondary had a shot at it, failed to make a diving play, and Syracuse dodges a bullet. 2nd down and 10. You have to admire that, though, because Syracuse is in a situation where, hey, you're playing against the number 2 team in the country. You're trying to spoil a college football playoff trip for these Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So why not chuck it deep? Why not get this thing going and try and put some surprise points on the board? Nonetheless, a fake jet sweep and a handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker rumbling his way forward. He'll get about 5. So Syracuse will be second and about medium with 4.5 minutes and counting to go in the first quarter. This game going by quickly already. Taj Harris and Sean Tucker have been leading the way for Syracuse so far this year, as everybody knows. Taj Harris, a junior, will have 1 year left for Syracuse. And The running back, only a freshman in Sean Tucker. Now a pass complete to the left side. It's Sean Tucker, speak of the devil. Makes a move. Going down the left sideline. Sean Tucker, one man to beat, couldn't do it, but it's going to be a long 30-plus yard gain for the freshman. Rex Culpepper able to use his check down wide out, and it's Sean Tucker, the tailback. Saw green in front of him. Notre Dame shows complete blitz, gave it all to Rex Culpepper. He's able to get the pass off before taking the hit. And Sean Tucker makes Notre Dame pay. Going again, Culpepper trying one deep towards the end zone. Anthony Quealy, the intended receiver, in another situation where it's not even really close. So 2nd down and 10. Notre Dame leads it 3-0. 3:37 left to go. And Notre Dame has had some close games this year. Real close games. Close ones against Louisville and Florida State and obviously Clemson. So Syracuse might not be in a situation where they're looked at to get blown out. It's a 34-point spread. Handoff up the middle, 2nd and 10. Sean Tucker taken down behind the line of scrimmage that time. Tackle on the play for Notre Dame by the big man back there, Riley Mills, defensive lineman, 6'5". A huge guy, 259 pounds, only a freshman with that kind of size out of Lake Bluff, Illinois. He wears number 99 for the Fighting Irish, and he came up with a big play. So it'll be 3rd down and long for Syracuse. They're in field goal range. It would be a long one for Andre Schmidt, but we know he has the leg. Pressure coming. Culpepper. Pass sent up the middle. Completed to Taj Harris past the 30-yard line, down at about the 31. It's not going to be enough for a 1st down. There's a flag on the field. If it's against the defense, that'd be good for Syracuse. If not, that's bad. So I'm listening in on it. And it is against Syracuse. I believe it is against Taj Harris. Offensive pass interference, that's costly. That very well could drive Syracuse out of field goal range now. So it's still 3rd down. Syracuse needs a positive play here. They lose a chunk. The interference, actually, it goes against Aaron Hackett. At first, it looked like they were going to throw it towards Taj Harris because Taj Harris didn't like the call, but that's Taj Harris's personality, sometimes we'll say, as a player. And yeah, he doesn't make a push off or anything. So it's not against him. It's against Aaron Hackett for interference, some kind of holding, blocking infraction. 3rd down and 26 for Syracuse, well out of field goal range now because they're at about the 50-yard line. So this is not the predicament the Orange wanted to be in. Had a chance to tie the game or take the lead. Now out of field goal range, 2:30 left to go. Ball's at their own 49. Culpepper drops back. Pressure coming. Lets a pass fly to the right side. Pass complete to Taj Harris as she's driven out of bounds. Hangs onto the football. But a huge tackle there for Notre Dame, and it's the cornerback, Clarence Lewis. Makes the stop for the Fighting Irish. It'll be 4th down, and we'll see how long it is. It looked like Taj Harris caught it and was driven out at about the 38-yard line. Yep, that's where the ball is going to be down, the 38-yard line of Notre Dame. It's 4th down and 17. Oh, excuse me. Watched the replay wrong. So instead, it's the 42-yard line, not the 38, the other side of the 40. And Nolan Cooney boots it away. 4th and 17. Fair catch is going to be called for and caught at the 10-yard line. So not great field position for Notre Dame again on their 2nd drive. Syracuse, the penalty by Aaron Hackett proved to be costly. Nolan Cooney with another good punt. Buddy and Book and company will have 90 yards to go if they want to score a touchdown. So we'll take a quick break here on Orange Sheet, and we'll see you in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Syracuse and Notre Dame. Nearing the end of the 1st quarter, the Fighting Irish lead it by a score of 3-0. And welcome back here to Notre Dame Stadium. Ian Book able to escape for the moment. On the initial play, it's Syracuse coming up with a big sack. Credit Jeff Canton, our coup for Syracuse, taking down the quarterback, the senior Ian Book in the backfield, and that's not ideal for the Fighting Irish, but great for Syracuse. It'll be second down and long, deep in their own territory. Garrett Williams, great coverage down the field for the Orange, as well as Afatu Melifonwu, Jihad Carter, and Ian Book couldn't find anybody open. Second down and 13. Handoff up the middle now with a little bit of space is the tailback. Afatu Melifonwu makes the play for Syracuse, but Kyron Williams gets himself about 6. Third down and medium for Notre Dame. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter, just about 50 seconds at Notre Dame Stadium. 3-0 is the lead right now for Notre Dame over Syracuse. The Orange 1-9 on the season. Notre Dame an undefeated 9-0, looking to go 10 straight. Third down and 5. Man in motion, it's the tight end. Ian Book claps his hands, dropping back in the shotgun. Pass up the middle complete. It'll be a first down past the 25-yard line for Notre Dame, and it's the tailback, Kyron Williams, making the reception. What a year he's having. Not only the leading rusher, but one of the leading receivers as well. They like to use those screen plays. They like to use those hitches, and they just completely left Kyron Williams alone there. Coming in to make the play for Syracuse was Stephon Thompson, but again, the running back was left completely alone, and Notre Dame is able to convert and move the chains. They've completed almost every single third down, all but 2. Syracuse has held them to a field goal, and then one more was a stop on the tight end. So that'll do it for the first quarter, and Notre Dame leads at 3-0. Maybe a little bit closer than some people expected going into the end of the first quarter here. We've only played 15 minutes of football, but Syracuse hanging in there, and Syracuse driving down the field more than maybe some people expected, and I am guilty party of that. I didn't think Syracuse would be able to drive down the field. They haven't shown it. They showed it a little bit last week, but the offensive struggles have been extreme for Syracuse this year, and extreme. So for them to drive down the field on a good defense, though they got stalled out a couple of times and they shot themselves in their foot with their own costly penalties, Syracuse hanging in this game a little bit, and Notre Dame not really showing any kind of dominance. A field goal up on the board, a possession where Syracuse held them to a fourth down and they punted the ball away. It looked early like Notre Dame could have run away with it like that. Drove all the way down the field, and then Syracuse made a stop in the red zone. That's when the field goal was up and good for the Fighting Irish. And they're back to a timeout. Notre Dame will still maintain the possession. It'll be around the 30-yard line when they come back. And looking at some of the scores across the country to see what is happening within college football, a couple of games were close in the third and fourth quarter just moments ago. So 8 minutes left to go. Ohio State leads it now 38-10. Michigan State with the ball. Oklahoma State still a 1-point advantage, 22-21 over TCU. 9 minutes left in that one. And that's about it. Some big games coming up later. Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois. Illinois, on College Game Day, they actually said that Illinois might upset Iowa. That was a pick that a couple of the guys on College Game Day made. Can't remember exactly which ones it was, but they're not sleeping on the Fighting Illini. They're really thinking that they have a chance against the Hawkeyes. It's going to be nonetheless a tough game. Iowa ranked 19th in the country, but that's one of those matchups that is certainly interesting and intriguing, and that's one that a lot of people will be tuning into on FS1. The CBS game this week, of course, Florida and Tennessee, and then you have Alabama, LSU later tonight as well. Clemson, Virginia Tech, as I mentioned. So some great games of college football. But right now it's the Golden Domers and the Orange going at it. One quarter is away. Syracuse trails it 3-0. And we're back. 15 minutes to go. Ian Book snaps his hands. Handoff to the left side. Kyron Williams gets about a yard or two for Notre Dame. It'll be second down 10 seconds gone off the clock. 3-0 lead for the Fighting Irish. What a player Ian Book has been for Notre Dame. Brian Kelly took this team to the college football playoffs a couple of years ago, and a big loss to Clemson, so that's why that win was so much sweeter earlier this year. Possibly an ACC championship matchup looming. We'll see what happens the rest of the day. Ian Book drops back. Pressure coming. He's able to escape. McKinley Williams couldn't get the sack. And a pass to the left side was incomplete. That time it was intended for Braden Lindsey, unable to make the catch for Notre Dame. It'll be 3rd down and 8. And Syracuse, Tony White in this defense has Notre Dame in another sticky situation here, but they've been very, very good at converting down the stretch thus far. McKinley Williams had the pressure on the quarterback, and the pass was just not completed. So now 2 receivers to the right, trips to the left side. Stacking the receivers are the Fighting Irish. Ian Book in the shotgun once again, drops back, has plenty of time, good hold, but now that hold goes away. Book running for his life, pass up the left seam, incomplete. Plenty of orange and white jerseys around. And the pass was intended for the big tight end, the freshman that time for Notre Dame. He's had a couple of big completions, but couldn't make it happen there. Michael Mayer. Ian Book sends it over his head. Pressure coming from Syracuse. At first, the hold was really strong, but Book just waited too long. Closest to the quarterback was Kingsley Jonathan for Syracuse, and Mayer was unable to make a spectacular catch. Notre Dame will punt it away once again. Punt is up. A short one, and Nykeem Johnson comes up to make the fair catch at about the 38-yard line. That's where Syracuse will come out and start with it. Rex Culpepper took only a minute off the first quarter, 14:02 left to go in the second. And Syracuse still lingering in this ball game. Defense has been the story thus far. Really impressed with some of the young guys on this Notre Dame team right now. Mayer had a couple of big completions. When his quarterback can hit him, he's deadly. He's also been a factor in the blocking game as well, just a freshman on this team. And then a huge play defensively for Riley Mills, defensive lineman. Big kid, 260 pounds, 6'5", a freshman. Went to Lake Forest High School. And another break on the television. So we'll take a quick break here. We'll be right back. Syracuse trailing Notre Dame by just 3. Notre Dame leads it 3-0. We're only a minute underway in the second quarter. So we'll be right back. Notre Dame 3-0 over the Orange. And welcome back once again on Orange Sheet. My name is Giovanni, your play-by-play commentator for the night. Unfortunately, no Kyle Marshak here today. He's always my partner for the football and the majority of the basketball games. He had something come up, was unable to make it today, but nonetheless, I'm here to cover Syracuse Orange football for you guys. A big-time opportunity on the road against Notre Dame right now. Rex Culpepper has played pretty good for Syracuse, but a costly penalty kept the Orange off the scoreboard. They were in field goal range with a short 3rd down, and it turned into much more. Unable to make the yards back up. Aaron Hackett, the tight end, was the guilty party. Syracuse gave it back, but the defense was able to make a stop. So Syracuse has it back, and a pass complete on 1st down. Nope, not complete. Sean Tucker had it for a second, then dropped it. Out of bounds it goes. They wave it incomplete pass. So No fumble or anything like that. Syracuse has it. It'll be second down and 10, 14 minutes to go. Notre Dame leads it 3-0 over the Orange. Some substitutions coming here for Syracuse. And the punt was pretty short. Nykeem Johnson made a fair catch. The Orange have it at their own 38-yard line. A pitch to the left side after pressure came. Nykeem Johnson, a burst of speed, but gets only a yard. So it'll be third down and long for Syracuse again after two quick plays, and that's what happens to this Syracuse team. The defense, known for getting a little bit tired, very, very good defensively, but known to get a little bit tired when the offense comes out and it's a quick 3-and-out. They move the ball so quickly. It's a no-huddle style offense out of head coach Dino Babers, and simply sometimes they just can't get the ball rolling and give it back to the opposing offense real quick. But a pass complete to the right side. Taj Harris, first down, knocked out of bounds. Give him 8 more after the catch. Taj Harris having himself a game here for Syracuse. Comes up big on third down after the wide receiver screen. Great pass from Rex Culpepper all the way on the left hash. Gets it to the right sideline. So that's a very far pass for this quarterback, but he puts it on a line, and Taj Harris had the defense fooled. It's a first down for Syracuse, now in Notre Dame territory at the opposing 45-yard line. Quarterback keeper Rex Culpepper driving his way forward. About 4, maybe 5 yards for Syracuse, the senior quarterback, probably his final down or final day wearing that Syracuse orange jersey. An opportunity maybe to come back with the COVID situation. Not sure how welcomed that will be by some of these coaching staffs, just because it really throws off your recruiting, but we'll see. Second down and 5. Pass to the left side. Sean Tucker makes the catch. He's taken down, driven back, but the forward progress has him near the sticks. And it looks like it'll be third down and very short as we hear the bells chiming at Notre Dame Stadium. Third down and 1 in Notre Dame territory. 12-11 and counting left to go. Syracuse communicating with the sideline. Not a packed house at Notre Dame, but a lot of people there, especially for a pandemic taking place. A large crowd here. Third down and 1. Under 12 to go. Direct snap to the tailback, Sean Tucker, and it's no problem. He gets about 10 on that one, and Syracuse moves the chains once again. The Wildcat formation pays off. The freshman drives his way forward, and the Orange convert on third down. So from the Notre Dame 29-yard line, Rex Culpepper rolls to the right side. Pass complete. Taj Harris, he gets about 7. Syracuse cooking with oil now. And moving quickly are the Orange. 11.5 minutes to go. Notre Dame leads it by just 3. 3-0 is the score. Taj Harris has been huge for the Orange, as well as the tailback, Sean Tucker, and you can't forget about the quarterback. Trips to the left side for Syracuse. Culpepper communicating with his line. One receiver to the right side. Sean Tucker is in there at tailback. It's second down and short, 3 yards to go. Handoff up the middle. Tucker will get about 2 of it. So it'll be third down and 1. Back-to-back third down and 1 scenarios for Syracuse. And the last time the Orange had a trip to Notre Dame Stadium was in 2010. But these teams have met a couple of times since then, playing at Yankee Stadium as well as MetLife Stadium. The last go-around was a couple of years ago. It was a big matchup. Syracuse was ranked 12th in the country. Notre Dame was ranked 3rd. Wildcat again. Direct snap. Sean Tucker driving his way forward. Notre Dame read it the whole way, but he still forces his way. First down. There was only a yard to go. He gets past the sticks, and now Syracuse moves the chains once again, knocking on the door of both the red zone and the end zone. Sean Tucker having himself a phenomenal season. What a pleasant surprise he's been in Orange. 5th string running back. After 2 of the main guys opt out, not Nykeem Johnson, Abdul Adams and Jarvian Howard elect not to play this year. You go all the way down to Markenzie Pierre and Jawar Jordan. They get injured. They struggle. 5th string running back, Sean Tucker, he's been sensational for Syracuse, and he'll be here for years to come. Nobody back there with Culpepper on first down and 10. Pass complete to the left side. Breaking a tackle is Anthony Quealy. Anthony Quealy extends to the end zone, and it's a Syracuse touchdown. The Orange take the lead over Notre Dame at 6-3 early on in the second quarter of action. A pitch and catch from the senior Rex Culpepper off to number 14, Anthony Quealy, in the Orange bite back and get themselves on the board. Anthony Quealy tiptoeing his way down the sideline, extending the ball over the pylon. Syracuse responds back and takes the lead. Who would have thought with 9:55 left to go in the first half? PAT is up and good for Andre Schmidt. Syracuse, a big lead right now, and it's all because of Rex Culpepper leading the way down the field. Chunk plays, just really grinding their way down the field. A couple of gritty third down efforts. Nonetheless, the Orange find themselves on the board. Look at that. Rex Culpepper to Anthony Quealy. And it's a 7-3 lead for Syracuse. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back to see if Notre Dame has a response back at it. I'm sure they will. They're not the number 2 team in the country for nothing. Syracuse 7, Notre Dame 3. And welcome back here at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana, the site of today's ACC matchup. Interesting to say with Notre Dame in the ACC this season. Syracuse goes down the field and scores. Rex Culpepper to the sophomore wideout Anthony Quealy. The score 7-3. The Orange lead it over Notre Dame. Ian Book and company will certainly look for a response here. But a huge effort out of the Orange. Anthony Quealy with the tiptoe down the sideline, extends the ball over the end zone, and it's all Syracuse right now. Defensively, they've played phenomenal, but Notre Dame will look to bite right back. Ian Book, handoff to the left side, getting about 8, nearly 9, possibly 10 diving for the effort. Kyron Williams, a big run for Notre Dame, and the energy inside the stadium by Kyron Williams was just lifted. The bench loved it. That was a big, powerful run, really pushing his way up towards the first down marker. We'll see where they mark the ball. They mark him just short of the first. So 2nd down and 1, gain of 9 for Kyron Williams. He's having himself a good day. 9:20 left to go in the second. Wide receiver in motion, coming across. It's not going to be a jet sweep. Play action fake. Ian Book dropping back. Had plenty of time. Pass complete up the middle. It's going to be a gain of about 7 for Notre Dame. And it's tailback once again, Kyron Williams, 195-pound sophomore out of St. Louis, Missouri at St. John Vianney College. Prep college, I should say. Syracuse playing plenty of underclassmen on this defense after Andre Sisco, an All-American, as well as Trill Williams, elect to go to the NFL midway through the year. Ian Book drops back. Pass to the right side is complete, but swallowing him up was Garrett Williams. The pass complete there for Notre Dame to the tight end, that time number 88, Giovanni McKinley. Garrett Williams makes a stop. It's a gain of about 2 for Notre Dame, and it'll be second down and long. 2 receivers to the right side. 2 of them to the left. Second down and 5. Ian Book claps his hands. Passes complete across the sticks. It'll be a gain of about 9 for Notre Dame and a first down once again for the Fighting Irish. I said, be careful. They're going to drive their way down the field, and there's no way they don't come back with a response here. They're the number 2 team in the country, so Syracuse needs to keep the defensive momentum going right now. Notre Dame taking the wind out of the sails. Connor Radigan was the intended receiver, and he gets his way a first down for Notre Dame. Going once again is Ian Book. Pressure came. Now the blocking recovered. Still coming on Ian Book. Hit as he throws. Sends one complete. Gain of 5 for Notre Dame that time. And again, making the catch is Giovanni McKinley. Second down and 5 it will be for the Fighting Irish inside Syracuse territory. It was an 18-yard touchdown for Anthony Quealy to get Syracuse on the board. It's a 7-3 lead for the Orange after Notre Dame had an early field goal. Just over 8 minutes to go, under 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Wide receiver screen. This one is called incomplete. It was deflected away by Jeff Canton Arku. The intended receiver for Notre Dame was Jafar Armstrong. Couldn't be there. It'll be third down and 4 again for Syracuse. So that's another big play for the Syracuse defense. Read that wide receiver screen the entire way. And a play on the ball that time by Jeff Canton Arku with some help from Garrett Williams. Third down and 4, Syracuse showing blitz. Man in motion, it's the tight end to the left side. Ian Book drops back. It's going to be a handoff up the middle, and Syracuse is there to stop it. At the line of scrimmage, Kyron Williams had nowhere to go. Notre Dame went down the field, but Syracuse stalls him out with a fourth down. Tony White loving what he's seeing out of his 3-3-5 defense right now. A huge opportunity against one of the best teams in the country. Syracuse leads it, and it looks like they'll get the ball back here. The ball is at about the 36-yard line, 4th and 3. And Ian Book going for it. So Brian Kelly elects to go for it. 4th down and 3, Notre Dame. Huge opportunity for the Syracuse defense. 45-yard line, pressure coming. Pass complete up the middle to the tight end, and he will not get there. Syracuse makes a stop shy of the line to gain. A huge play for the Syracuse defense. Notre Dame turns it over on downs. The receiver that time for the Fighting Irish went back to the freshman Michael Mayer. Jeff Canton Arku and a couple of orange jerseys swarmed around Mayer. And Syracuse with a big stop on 4th down as they hold a 7-3 lead. How about that? Rex Culpepper comes back out. They'll take a quick break, and we'll take a quick break here as well. We'll be right back. Syracuse, a big 4th down stop, and right now it is a 7-3 lead for the Orange. Welcome down to South Bend, Indiana. On the field, Syracuse holding a 7-3 lead. 6:30 left to go. And the Orange take the field offensively. A touchdown from Anthony Quealy, pitching catch between the senior quarterback Rex Culpepper and the sophomore wideout. Then a fourth down stop offensively or defensively inside Syracuse territory for the Orange over Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish couldn't convert on fourth. Syracuse gets the ball back, and the first down play was a handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker gets maybe a half a yard. It's still 2nd down and 10 for Syracuse. Culpepper alone in the shotgun. Trips to the left side, 2 receivers to the right. Syracuse facing a big blitz here. Pass up the middle is deflected away. Incomplete. Courtney Jackson, the intended receiver in orange and white. Unable to make the catch is Courtney Jackson. It'll be a quick 3rd down here for Notre Dame. And that's what that blitz will do to you. Notre Dame sends a lot of pressure, no blockers in the backfield for Rex Culpepper. Courtney Jackson, the intended receiver, and coming up to make the deflection that time was the Notre Dame linebacker, Jeremiah Karamoka. And Culpepper backfield alone again on 3rd down, this time deflected at the line, and it'll go nowhere. So Syracuse will have to punt it away right back to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That time defensively, it was the defensive lineman, Avi Ogofo. And Notre Dame, frustrated with the 4th down lackluster performance offensively, the defense comes out inspired following a timeout and gives it right back. So 4th down and 10 now. Nolan Cooney will come out for Syracuse. And that time they weren't able to get anything to go offensively. 5:48 is what Notre Dame will have to play with here before halftime, and possibly Syracuse could get it back. We'll see what happens. Cooney's punt is pretty short, not much to it. It'll keep treading backwards across the 30-yard line down at the 28, and that's where Notre Dame will take over their own 28-yard line. Decent field position here for the Fighting Irish, but not a bad punt out of Nolan Cooney. That offensive series for Syracuse isn't exactly what you'd like, and that's kind of been the story of the Orange this season. They come up with a huge defensive stop, give it to the offense in either great field position or nonetheless just give it to the offense for an opportunity, and then the offense sputters away. 3 and out, unable to do much with it, and that's exactly what you saw. 3 and out for Syracuse. Rex Culpepper and company couldn't get really anything going on that set. Notre Dame back with it. Handoff to the right side. Gain of about 6 that time for the tailback, Kyron Williams. Coming up to make the play for the Orange was Michael Jones. Williams has been big today. 5:21 left to go. Clock continues to wind here at Notre Dame Stadium. The last time the Irish played in here was an upset, you could say, over the Clemson Tigers. Ian Book drops back. Pressure coming from Syracuse. Ian Book escapes for the moment, but he's swallowed up and sacked. Jeff Canton-Arcu, say hello to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish because you just came up with a big sack for the Orange. It'll be 3rd down for Ian Book and company. Some receivers downfield were all locked up by the Syracuse secondary. Garrett Williams wouldn't let him have it. And Jeff Canton-Arcu makes the play for the Orange. 3rd down and 10 now. 2 receivers to each side. Ian Book, play action fake, dropping back in the shotgun. Pressure coming again. Lets one fly, and it's past the intended receiver. Kyron Williams couldn't make the grab. There's a flag on the field. It could be holding. We'll await the call. And Kingsley Jonathan, a very costly play for Syracuse. Roughing the passer, grabs his face mask. Unnecessary right here. And it's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down for Notre Dame. So instead of a 3 and out, and, you know, bias, Syracuse fan, obviously, and we can't be as a broadcaster, but he doesn't grab his face mask, but he does tap the top of his helmet. A situation where you just have to lay off. You can't hit the quarterback. He's trying to deflect a pass. It was incomplete anyways. Nonetheless, it's a 1st down for Notre Dame, and they make Syracuse pay off the mistake. A 15-yard completion up the right sideline on play action for Ian Book, and the receiver that time is the tight end, Tommy Tremble. That's his first target of the day, and he has a Notre Dame first down. Syracuse leads it still 7-3, but now the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are in Syracuse territory. He trots out of bounds at the 39-yard line, and that's where this one will be spotted. Tommy Tremble almost lost it, bobbles the ball a little bit. Couple of Syracuse defenders around him, but not much there. Ian Book drops back, play action fake again, pass to the left side. Ifatu Melifon was there for Syracuse, but it'll be a first down for Notre Dame. Just getting his way past the sticks was Giovanni McKinley again, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish well into Syracuse territory. They keep doing this, but the Orange come up with stops. Thought they had another one there on a 3-and-out. Instead, it was a penalty for the senior Kingsley Jonathan. That's a costly mistake for a senior to make. It's first down and 10, Ian Book. Syracuse showing pressure, 2 receivers to each side. Ian Book's back there all alone in the shotgun. He escapes. He's going to scramble. He'll get a first down. Plenty more. Past the 10, the 5. Book extending for the end zone, and it's a touchdown, Notre Dame. So they give Syracuse a response right back, and they'll take the lead. Barring a PAT, it'll be 10-7, and Ian Book does it himself with his legs. A 72-yard, 5-play drive for Syracuse's defense to handle, and Notre Dame takes the lead right back. Ian Book using his legs, scrambling on the play to get a touchdown, and Kingsley Jonathan on the sideline shaking his head. He knows that if it weren't for that penalty, Syracuse would have the ball right now after a 3-and-out. Instead, it's a touchdown for the Fighting Irish, and when you're playing a good team like this, you can't have costly penalties. You need to play a near-perfect game. That wasn't a perfect play. But it was a great play out of Ian Book. So the lead now is 10-7. 3-point advantage over Syracuse as we extend later into the first half of action in the second quarter. Notre Dame leads it over Syracuse 10-7. Welcome back here at Notre Dame Stadium as Ian Book takes a 25-yarder into the end zone off of a scramble, taking a 10-7 lead over the Syracuse Orange. The Orange had a touchdown from quarterback Rex Culpepper to Anthony Quealy earlier on. Notre Dame started the game with a field goal, and that's how we have ourselves a 10-7 ball game. Late in the second half here, the first half here, second quarter, Ian Book playing some phenomenal football today for Notre Dame, but Syracuse's defense has proven to be strong, forcing Notre Dame to punt it away on a couple of third downs in a row, forcing that field goal, but it was a costly penalty that time from Kingsley Jonathan, and Notre Dame turned it into a touchdown. That's what you do when you're the number 2 team in the country. And Syracuse starts with a false start on this drive. It's going to be Darius Tisdale on the offensive line, and another costly penalty. That's Syracuse's third major penalty here of 10 yards or more. Third total penalty as well, but we're not talking tic-tac penalties, 5-yarders. We're talking long ones. So it's 1st and 15. Taj Harris shaking his head, and another flag. Another false start on the offensive line for Syracuse. Back to back, and this is putting Syracuse in a terrible position. Carlos Vettorello, head coach Dino Babers, shaking his head. It'll be now first down and 20. They haven't even snapped the ball yet on this drive. Notre Dame a 10-7 lead, and the Syracuse offense started strong. People wondering where did it go with 3:18 left to go in the second. The last thing you want to do is give the Fighting Irish the ball back in good field position. Handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker, he'll get about 2. It'll be second down and very long still for Syracuse. Tucker's been good. Tucker's given them what they've needed. A couple of bursts on third down and short, third down and 1. Both times it was a wildcat formation. Tailback kept it, and Sean Tucker got first downs for Syracuse. That's why they were able to score a touchdown on that drive. Second down and 17. Tucker comes off the field a little shaken up on the play. He'll be A-okay. Dealt with injuries so far this year. Appears to be just fine. Chris Elmore also not in the game. What a story he has, playing left guard on this offensive line for Syracuse. He can play just about any position. Culpepper, handoff again. This time it is going to be Cooper Lutz with a burst of speed across the 30-yard line. Now Syracuse rolling. Sets up a third down and short. It'll be about third down and 4 for Syracuse with 2:22 left to go, and it's all because of the speed of Cooper Lutz. 6th string running back for Syracuse is Cooper Lutz, but that was a big play right there. Notre Dame possibly caught with 12 men on the field, maybe. Pass to Taj Harris is incomplete. Deflected away that time by the cornerback, Nick McLeod, 6 foot, 192-pound graduate student. 4th down and 5 it will be. Referees talking about it. And Notre Dame was substituting. It really looked like they could have been caught with too many on the field because guys are running on, guys are running off. There's not a flag down, but Brian Kelly pleading his case to the referees who are all huddled together right now. Dino Baber wants the flag. We'll hear it. And it is. It's an illegal substitution against Notre Dame. So it's a Syracuse first down, and Notre Dame has their first major penalty of the day. Brian Kelly is absolutely fumed. And yeah, count it. Wow. Notre Dame has 13 men on the field. You are only allowed to have 11. So 13 men on the field will do it. And Syracuse will get a first down nearing the middle of the field now. 2:10 left to go. Syracuse has it at their own 35-yard line. 2 receivers stacked to each side. Handoff up the middle. Cooper Lutz fights his way. Maybe 2 yards for him. It'll be second down and about 8. Clock continues to wind inside 2 minutes here, which is good for Syracuse. Even if you can't score, which you'd obviously ideally want to do, run the 2-minute drill here. Even if you can't, you don't want to give Notre Dame an opportunity. And on second down, Culpepper avoids 1 sack, but he's wrapped up in the backfield. The ball is down. It looks like it's a fumble recovered by Notre Dame at the 20-yard line. The referees say it is. And Rex Culpepper coughs up the ball. Notre Dame recovers. The refs will talk about it. It certainly looked like he was down, but we'll await a call here. It was scooped up by Maurice LaFaux, linebacker, sophomore. The play is under further review. That's who picked it up, ran it back about 10 yards before a couple of Syracuse guys were able to make a tackle. Looking at the replay, that's tough. It looks like there's a knee down. It's a tough one. We can't get a great angle, but it certainly looks like even though there's a punch, he still has it when the knee comes down. So they're looking to see if the ball moves before the knee is down. The unfortunate thing for Syracuse right now is that the ruling on the field is a fumble, and it has to be undisputable video evidence to turn over such a call. That's what Syracuse is facing as a problem right now. Rex Culpepper has been prone to fumbling this year. Still looking at the camera shots, still talking about it. We'll take a quick break here on Orange Heat. We'll be right back in just a moment with the call. Welcome back here on Orange Heat. We're at Notre Dame Stadium where the Fighting Irish currently lead the Syracuse Orange. Score 10-7, minute 38 left to go. An official review on a fumble, and the unfortunate thing for Syracuse is that you need undisputable video evidence to overturn that Rex Culpepper's knee was down. It really is a call that could go either way. In my opinion, I actually think the ball might come out just before the knee. But again, a tic-tac type play, very tough to call. They've spent a lot of time looking at it. Still no word yet. But the unfortunate thing for the Orange is that you need undisputable video evidence. And typically when they take this long, it's not there. So they're looking for it. Dino Babers shaking his head, but also has a smirk on his face. I'm not sure what that proves. Culpepper needs to hang on to the football, quite frankly. And the field call stands. So Notre Dame forces a fumble against Syracuse. Rex Culpepper coughs it up. And on the 10-yard return that time for the Fighting Irish was Maris LaFoe. So with a minute 38 to go, Notre Dame's going to have it deep inside Syracuse territory. What was an opportunity for Syracuse to go down the field and possibly either put some points up or just kind of kill the rest of this clock proves to be costly. Notre Dame has it at the 21-yard line in Syracuse territory. Minute 38 to play with. They lead it by 3, 10-7 over Syracuse. Ian Book in the shotgun, pressure coming, lets one fly to the right side. In open space is the wide receiver, and it'll be a Notre Dame touchdown. The ball is fumbled and recovered in the end zone again, and Notre Dame scores. So whether it's going to be the wideout that time, Giovanni McKinley with the reception diving for the end zone, which I think that's who it'll be, either that or it'll be the running back in there, Tommy Tremble for Notre Dame. One or the other, it's a Notre Dame score late in the second quarter, and that's exactly what Syracuse couldn't afford. And it does look like the ball is extended, over the goal line. It'll be a Notre Dame touchdown, no problem that time for Giovanni McKinley, the 6'2", 215 graduate transfer for Notre Dame on this team. And it's a touchdown for the Fighting Irish late in the second half. Syracuse coughs up the football. Rex Culpepper couldn't hang on to it. And barring this PAT, it's up and good. So it is a 17-7 lead for Notre Dame, a minute 30 to go. And it looked like for a second Syracuse was in this game, and Notre Dame takes the wind out of the sails. Quarterback Rex Culpepper, as a senior, has to hang on to that football. So we'll take another quick break here on Orange Heat. We'll be right back. Notre Dame, 17-7 lead over Syracuse, minute and a half to go. Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium. Syracuse trails the Fighting Irish 17-7, minute and a half left to go. And Syracuse is going to get the ball back. Very cool. They just showed all of the broadcasters to come out of Syracuse who were the biggest names at the Newhouse School. The SI Newhouse School of Public Communications is very known, world-renowned for churning out some of the best sports broadcasters in the industry, including Mike Tirico, who has the call today on NBC Sports. And they're showing some of his clips from when he was at Syracuse, which is very cool. I'm going to listen in. Very cool to see. Very long time ago for Mike Tirico when he was a student at Syracuse and then worked locally in Syracuse, New York before getting some bigger opportunities. Now he calls Notre Dame football, the Olympics, does it all for NBC. Pass complete to the left side. Anthony Quealy, he scored the touchdown earlier today for Syracuse. He gets about 6. It'll be second down and 4. Minute 16 left to go. Syracuse still full timeout. Second down and 3. Culpepper in the shotgun. 2 receivers to each side. Pass to the right side. Taj Harris makes a catch. He's going to be shy of the first down by just about a yard. Clock continues to wind. Now a minute exactly to go. Third down and very short, a yard to gain for Syracuse. 17-7 lead for Notre Dame. 55 seconds left in the half. Dino Babers not electing to use a timeout yet. 3rd and 1. The Irish showing pressure. Pass complete up the middle. Nykeem Johnson had it for a second, and then he lost it. So it is a drop for the Orange and a big deflection that time. Forcing the hit was Jeremiah Owansu Koromoa. What a name that man has. And he came up with a big play for the Fighting Irish as well. Nykeem Johnson, shifty wideout, had it in his mitts, then lost it on 3rd down. Syracuse will give Notre Dame the ball back with just under a minute to go, as Notre Dame already leads it by 10 points, 17-7. Syracuse was very much in this game, but that costly fumble by Rex Culpepper changed the perspective. The PAT is off, and the catch is made. It was a fair catch, and Syracuse another costly penalty. You can't hit someone on a fair catch, and that's just football 101. That's exactly what Syracuse did there. The play on special teams made that time. by a couple of guys. Ran into the deep man. Fair catch interference, and it goes against Cooper Lutz, the backup running back for Syracuse. Sixth string, technically, but now just the number 2 back under Sean Tucker with the way that COVID-19 and the 2020 craziness of college football has panned out for Syracuse. It's been a year to forget for Orange fans. 1-9 on the season coming into this matchup at Notre Dame Stadium. The Fighting Irish, perfect 9-0. And a chance to play for the college football playoff if they can win today and then win the ACC championship. Ian Book back in at quarterback, 38 seconds. We'll see if they push it or if they just try and run out this clock. Book drops back. They're going to pass the ball. They want points. Pass to the left side, complete, out of bounds that time. Gaining about 6 is going to be the freshman tight end there, Michael Mayer, 6'5", 235, out of Independence, Kentucky. Covington Catholic product, 2nd down and 5 for Notre Dame. He got out of bounds. Clock stops with 34 seconds to go. Ian Book, senior quarterback right now for the Fighting Irish, has just about the whole field to go. 2nd and 5 from past the 37. Pass complete up the middle with a burst of speed. Cross the 50 that time is Kyron Williams, and Notre Dame now in Syracuse territory. Full timeout slate with 28 seconds left to go. Notre Dame takes a timeout, and they're on the move. So they're going to take a break on the TV for the Syracuse timeout, and we'll take a look at some of the scores across the country. Florida and Tennessee are underway. Florida leads at 3-0 early. 4:20 to go in the first. West Virginia and Iowa State. Iowa State leads that one 7-0. They're ranked 9th in the country right now. Illinois and Iowa are underway as well. Illinois with a 7-0 lead. Wisconsin and Indiana are underway. 6:09 left to go. They're scoreless. And we're back here inside Notre Dame Stadium. Very cool to see Mike Tirico and Tony Dungy on the call. I'll show you a sign, College Game Day sign from earlier today after the half, for sure. It says Mike Tirico is a Syracuse fan. Very, very cool. Because he did go to Syracuse, and he is a big Syracuse fan, does a lot for the program at Newhouse, a big ambassador of the school, absolutely. And now Notre Dame on the move, 49-yard line inside Syracuse territory at midfield. 1st down and 10. Book drops back. Marlowe Wax was there for a second, but a big block out of the tailback that time. Pass was intended down the field for the tight end once again, Michael Mayer. He's the biggest target of Ian Book so far today, but it goes way past the intended receiver, out of bounds, and it'll be 2nd down, but the clock still stops. Ian Book just kind of had to get rid of it. Marlowe Wax was there to force the pressure on Ian Book, but unable to convert on a sack. 2nd down and 10 from the same spot. Ian Book drops back. Pressure came. Pass is incomplete. Intended in the middle for the wideout, who's had a couple of catches today and a touchdown. Giovanni McKinley, 6'2", 215 graduate, as I said. He's unable to get it to go. 19 seconds left. Notre Dame, 2 timeouts left. It's 3rd down and 10 at the midfield line, just about the 49-yard line on Syracuse's side. 3rd and 10. Trips to the right side stacked. One receiver to the left. Ian Book drops back. Syracuse sends a lot of pressure. Book with a pass up the middle, and it's complete. Across the 30-yard line that time for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish goes Raymond Henderson. And now Notre Dame is driving. A timeout called. 12 seconds left to go. Brian Kelly is either going to put up a field goal here for Notre Dame or try and score one into the end zone. Notre Dame still has one timeout left if you want to send a heave towards the end zone. About 28 yards to go or so. And they'll take a quick 30-second break. We'll take one as well. Notre Dame driving inside Syracuse territory, nearing the red zone. It's a 17-7 lead as it is for the Fighting Irish. Welcome back here to Notre Dame Stadium. 12 seconds to go. Syracuse calls a timeout. It's their first one of the half of two left. 12 seconds to go. Notre Dame still has one timeout left. They have the ball at the Syracuse 28-yard line. Brian Kelly, a couple of chances, maybe two, probably one, to send one towards the end zone. Timeout left. And then following that, we'll most likely see a field goal. But Notre Dame trying to continue to send points up onto that big scoreboard here at Notre Dame Stadium. Already 17-7 lead over Syracuse. And this is a game that has kind of gotten away from the Orange. All of a sudden, it was a very close game, and Rex Culpepper coughs up the football. Syracuse took a 7-3 lead at one point, and then Rex Culpepper fumbles the ball. Notre Dame takes it, and the rest was history. 2 plays later, it's a touchdown in the end zone for the wideout in navy and gold, Javen McKinley. Ian Book, 12 seconds to play with in a timeout. First down and 10 at the 28. Book looks to the sideline for the call. 2 receivers to the left side, 2 of them to the right, and a man in the backfield with him as well. Ball snapped, play action fake, pressure comes, left side, heave to the end zone, and it's a touchdown, Notre Dame. Oh my goodness. What a catch that time. Once again, it's Giovanni McKinley. 6'2", 215 pounds, and he just goes up over the Syracuse defense. Notre Dame extends a big lead here as time expires in the first half of action. Wow. Giovanni McKinley, back-to-back touchdowns for the Irish, and it's a big lead here in South Bend. The PAT now for Notre Dame is up and good. It's a 24-7 lead for the Fighting Irish, all turned around by a fumble for Syracuse. Rex Culpepper. It was a 10-7 ball game. Rex Culpepper gave away a fumble. A Fatu Melifonwu didn't stand a chance. And Notre Dame goes up big off the shoulders of Ian Book. There will be 6 seconds left on the clock for a Syracuse kickoff, and really most likely just a knee out here unless Nykeem Johnson can make something happening. I have some comments here on a pass interference call, and I'd have to see it again. There's certainly some pushing. Melifonwu's, not a small corner. That's a big wide receiver right there. That is, Giovanni McKinley is a big man. 6'2", 215. That's a big guy. And the size shows on the field. I would actually argue that he might be a little bit bigger than that, because on the other side, you have a Fatu Melifonwu who's 6'3". A Fatu Melifonwu is not taller than that guy. I mean, it was just shown there. Nonetheless, Notre Dame a 24-7 lead. 6 seconds left to go. Kickoff here. Nykeem Johnson was back deep. Lets it go out of the back of the end zone. Syracuse will have 6 seconds to knee away. It's worth noting that Trevor Pena ran one back for Syracuse last week on a kick return for a touchdown. It was Syracuse's first and only on the year, and Pena with a big play for the Orange against NC State. A narrow loss for Syracuse. Not the case today. Nykeem Johnson elected not even to touch the ball. So 1st and 10, Rex Culpepper comes out. It's at their own 25-yard line. It'll most likely be a handoff. Sean Tucker. Tucker makes a cut, makes one man miss. He'll get about 6. Still only 1 second left on the clock. And that will do it for the first half. Notre Dame, a big lead over Syracuse going into the locker room. It's 24-7 and a half that really got away from the Orange. Notre Dame capitalized on opportunities that Syracuse spoon-fed right to them. A fumble by Rex Culpepper sends a score the other way for Notre Dame, and Syracuse trailing big. 24-7 at the half. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the second half of action in just about a half hour or so. So stay tuned. Come on back for some second half of football. Syracuse not out of this game, but it's a big lead for Notre Dame. 24-7 after 2. Welcome back here to Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana, where Notre Dame has a 24-7 lead over Syracuse as we begin the second half of play. It was a costly turnover for Rex Culpepper, fumbling the ball on a scramble. Notre Dame took full advantage of it, converting it into a touchdown. Followed by that, Syracuse got the ball back, goes 3 and out. Notre Dame gets it back, and they go all the way down and score with 12 seconds to go on the clock was when the ball was snapped, 6 seconds after it was all said and done, and Notre Dame has a 24-7 lead. The last 2 touchdowns were pitches and catches between Ian Book, the quarterback, and the wide receiver, Giovanni McKinley. Both those guys having themselves a day. And what was a very close game up until that fumble has really turned around. Syracuse gets it here to start the second half. Handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker gets maybe a half of a yard. It'll be second down and about 10 still for Syracuse. So it was a good first half. The first quarter, Syracuse played extremely well. At one point, they had a 7-3 lead, and then Notre Dame bit right back. But the costly mistakes, penalties for Syracuse, fumbles, and Notre Dame, number 2 team in the country, they're going to pounce on those opportunities. So Syracuse from their own 26-yard line, second down and 9. Culpepper, it was a jet sweep to Nykeem Johnson, but a pre-snap penalty and the flags come out. Had a false start against the Syracuse offensive line. That's 1 of 3 so far today. It's going to be a big loss for Syracuse, and it'll be second down and even longer. Clark Lea was the Syracuse linebackers coach from 2013 to 2015. Now he's the defensive coordinator under Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Syracuse also making products out of guys like Ed Orgeron, the head coach at LSU, put out really good coaches, and just they don't have them when they're at Syracuse. Handoff up the middle. Now Sean Tucker to the left side, losing his footing, diving out of bounds. He'll get about 7 on that play. It'll be third down for Syracuse. Possibly more than 7. It was second down and 14, and he's near the line to gain. Just about 2 or 3 yards short. So it'll be third down and 3. 13:50 left to go. Clock continues to wind. Notre Dame leads it 24-7 over Syracuse. Culpepper drops back. Plenty of time right now. Pass complete to the tight end, Aaron Hackett. Hackett rumbles his way, and he lost the football. Fumble on the field. Notre Dame recovers, no doubt about it. And Syracuse gives it right back to the Fighting Irish. Aaron Hackett couldn't hang on to it, and diving on top of it for Notre Dame that time was number 95, Myron Tagovailoa Amosa. There's no disputing that. Hackett stayed on his feet the entire time and simply lost the football. Fumble forced with a big hit from Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah. And Notre Dame has created plenty of turnovers against Syracuse so far today. So Notre Dame will get the ball back. Syracuse has turned it over twice now, both on fumbles. And now inside Syracuse territory, Ian Book and company take over at the 38-yard line. Ian Book fumbles it. And now Syracuse says they have it. They do. Marlowe Wax running down the field. Whistles are being blown right now. Marlowe Wax still's going to take this thing into the end zone just to be precautionary. It's a fumbled snap nonetheless. Syracuse will have it. Ian Book is furious. And Marlowe Wax was never down when he picked up that football. That's absolutely what it is, a fumbled snap. Ian Book lost it. Some miscommunication, and yes, he falls on top of it. So it's not a touchdown. But Syracuse gets the ball right back, dodges a major bullet. The offense takes it on the first play of Notre Dame. So back-to-back fumbles on back-to-back plays. One for Notre Dame, one for Syracuse. And we'll take a quick break on TV. We'll take a very, very brief break here. Syracuse, a very exciting series of events, gets the ball back nonetheless after an Aaron Hackett fumble. Now they get it, and they'll have it near midfield. So Syracuse and Notre Dame. Notre Dame leads at 24-7 early on in the second half. Welcome back here on Orange Heat. Syracuse recovers a fumble by quarterback Ian Book on a bobbled snap here, and that's exactly what they will be practicing on the sideline. You see it right now, feeling comfortable about it. Backup center in for Notre Dame. Syracuse 2nd down and 9 following a first down. Sean Tucker was taken down after just one, and now he's taken down in the backfield. They're doing that consistently where they do this fake jet sweep, play action, run type option play. And instead of giving it to Nykeem Johnson in motion on the sweep, they hand it off up the middle, Sean Tucker, and with absolutely nowhere to go, stuffing him at the line and way before it, was Isaiah Foskey. Notre Dame has Syracuse in a 3rd down and 15 situation just like that with 12:30 left to go. It's all Notre Dame in South Bend, 24-7 lead for the Fighting Irish. Trips to the right side for Syracuse, one receiver to the left. Sean Tucker back there beside Culpepper in the shotgun. Culpepper drops back. Pressure coming from behind him, sends a pass up the middle. It's complete and caught at the 50-yard line by Nykeem Johnson. It'll be 4th down and short for Syracuse. The question is, will they go for it? Dino Babers is known for making this kind of call. It's at exactly midfield, 4th and 3. 12:01 to go. Clock winds down inside 12, and the offense will stay on the field. 4th down and 3. Ball's at the 50. 23 seconds on the play clock. The Orange are going for it, down by a couple of scores. Notre Dame showing blitz and pressure. They'll give it to him. Culpepper, pass the sticks, and it's a first down for Syracuse. Taj Harris completes the catch at the 40-yard line. About 5 yards past the sticks. It looked like he dropped it for a second, able to hold on to it. And it's a nice play for Taj Harris and Syracuse. The play defensively that time for Notre Dame in coverage was Clarence Lewis. He forced it out of Taj Harris's hands initially, but as he's falling to the ground, Taj Harris able to swallow that ball up in his gut. The ruling on the field is a catch, and they are going to review it here. I've still been unable to see a good angle on it. He has it there. Then it gets forced out. Definitely comes out. Then he falls, and it hits the ground when it falls. So the question will be if he made a football move and maintained the possession. Otherwise, it's incomplete. But the question is if it will be a fumble turned into a first down for Syracuse. That's kind of what it looks like. I would rule that fumble because he has it, makes a football move, you could say runs, gets it pushed out from behind, and then falls on top of it. Nonetheless, if it's an incomplete pass, or if they say the ball was never possessed, it would be incomplete pass because the ball makes plenty of contact with the ground. Falling down on top of it was Harris. So we'll see what happens there. They're going to review it during the timeout. We'll take a quick break here on Orange Sheet, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Syracuse trails 24-7 against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, ranked number 2 in the country. Welcome back here at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame leads it over Syracuse 24-7, an ACC football matchup, something that's a little unique to say as Notre Dame playing ACC conference ball this year. And it's confirmed on Twitter, not on the actual broadcast just yet on the TV, but Nico Tamarian puts it out for Syracuse local news that it's a first down Taj Harris. It, I believe, was ruled a fumble. Harris falls on top of it. Therefore, Syracuse has it. It's a first down conversion on 4th. And now the Orange are moving inside Notre Dame territory. So that's a plus right now, down 2 touchdowns and a field goal at this point. Culpepper claps his hands, handoff up the middle, Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker with a burst of speed in space. 1 man to beat, he does it. 5 touchdowns, Syracuse. The freshman Sean Tucker strikes back against the Fighting Irish on the road, and Sean Tucker having himself a phenomenal season. 5 plays, 57 yards go the Orange, and Sean Tucker gashes him on the ground and pound run. Sean Tucker breaks a tackle, then another one, and he was off to the races. Touchdown, Syracuse, and the Orange are right back in this football game right now. What a play by the freshman. PAT is up and good for Andre Schmidt, and it's a 14-24 lead for Notre Dame right now, but a big play out of Syracuse. Sean Tucker, the big play on the ground. Syracuse draws this one a little closer. We'll take a quick break here, and we'll be right back on Orange Heat. Syracuse 14, Notre Dame 24. And welcome back in South Bend, Indiana. Sean Tucker having himself a game for Syracuse. 15 rushes, 84 yards, and a touchdown on the board, a long one. Gashing the Notre Dame's defense was Sean Tucker on that last run. Huge play for Syracuse, draws this game a little closer and keeps the Orange in it. It's still a 24-14 advantage for Notre Dame. Brian Kelly certainly infuriated with his team after giving up that one defensively. And Notre Dame will look to bounce back here. They've done it well today. The Syracuse defense also came up big a couple of times in the first half. They'll look to do it again. And it all started with a 4th down conversion for Taj Harris, allowing the score for Sean Tucker. Now Notre Dame, handoff. It's going to be right side. Ball carried by Kyron Williams. He'll get about 4, 5, and it'll be second down and about medium for Notre Dame. 10:57 under that now to go in the third quarter. But Syracuse makes this game a little bit more interesting. Still down 10 are the Orange. Notre Dame trying to extend the lead some more. Syracuse showing blitz. Ian Book drops back, pressure coming. He's able to escape it to the left side. He's a mobile quarterback. Marlowe Wax pursuing him out of bounds. Notre Dame treads across the goal line, or not goal line, the out of bounds line, right around that first down marker. Curious to see if he'll get it or not. Still awaiting the call right now. And it looks like it'll be a Notre Dame first down. Plenty of it today for the Fighting Irish. So they have the ball now, knocking on the door of Syracuse territory in the middle of the field. Ball exactly at the 47-yard line. Ball snapped. Ian Book drops back. Pressure coming again. He gets this ball off in the middle, and it's picked off. Jihad Carter with a takeaway for Syracuse. Now a burst of speed across the 30-yard line using his shifty moves, and he'll be taken down at the 31. Jihad Carter makes Ian Book play, sending one deep, and Syracuse takes the ball right back. This Syracuse secondary is deadly this season. And Jihad Carter comes up with the interception over Ian Book. Wow. Pressure came from Marlowe Wax and Jeff Canton-Arcou. Ian Book sent one up. It was high, intended for his go-to target deep, the tight end Michael Mayer. And Jihad Carter was the only one around the ball. Goes up, high, points it. No problem for Syracuse. And they're going to take the ball back now, only down by 10. To the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. What an interception for Jihad Carter. First down and 10, Syracuse. Rex Culpepper, play action fake. He rumbles, he fumbles the ball again. Notre Dame has it. And it's funny because as soon as the ball was snapped and I saw Rex running with it, I said, you can't trust him carrying the football. And Notre Dame takes the ball away again. There's a late flag, but it has to be against Notre Dame for celebration, something like that. Rex Culpepper cannot hang on to the ball for Syracuse today. Unnecessary roughness against Notre Dame. Following the fumble, Syracuse still coughs it up. Sean Crawford is the guilty party right now for Notre Dame. And Rex Culpepper gives it right back. After a Jihad Carter interception, Rex Culpepper loses the football, simply can't hang on to it. And recovering that fumble for the defensive line of Notre Dame was Adekondo Oguji. But just like that, Syracuse gives the ball right back. There's a situation again, the story of this season. The defense makes a big play, gives it to the offense, and the offense can't do anything with it. They didn't even go a play without a fumble. So a handoff to the left side. Ball carried now. Plenty of space on the left side for Notre Dame. Kyron Williams rumbles his way, and it's a first down, plenty more for the Fighting Irish inside Syracuse territory. Kyron Williams got around a couple of Syracuse defenders before getting out of bounds. That's a great run right there for Kyron Williams, nearing 1,000 yards on the season. Handoff up the middle, Kyron Williams again. He'll get about 1 or 2. It'll be second down and long for Notre Dame, about second down and 8 or 9. Notre Dame leads it 24-14. Syracuse had a big interception. Jihad Carter, and Rex Culpepper gives it right back. 8:57 left to go in the third. Clock continues to wind. Second down and 7 for the Fighting Irish. Man in motion right now for Notre Dame. It's a tight end. Now another man in motion, faking the jet sweep of the Fighting Irish. It's going to be a handoff up the middle, and Syracuse is there. That time gaining maybe 2 or 3 is Chris Tyree, and it's going to be third down and medium for the Fighting Irish. Syracuse had a chance to draw this game a little bit closer. Now their defense desperately needs another stop. Jihad Carter able to pick off Ian Book, and Syracuse doesn't even threaten the Irish, gives the ball away just like that. So Ian Book again, Syracuse showing blitz on each side. 3rd and 5, exactly 8 minutes to go as well. 2 receivers to each side, couple of tight ends. Ian Book drops back, play action, pass up the middle is incomplete. Jihad Carter comes in to make the hit on the running back, Chris Tyree, and it's 4th down. The Syracuse defense bails this team out once again. Tony White very happy with how his defense is performing so far. Jihad Carter, just simply a nice physical play for Syracuse. Chris Tyree had no chance at hanging on to that football. That's back-to-back big plays out of Jihad Carter. And the awesome thing about Jihad Carter, the kid, a true freshman. Absolutely sensational for Syracuse. Notre Dame going for it on 4th down and 5. Ian Book's going to scramble. Ian Book's got 5. He's got 8. How about 9? Ian Book, a 1st down for Notre Dame, and they're going to keep this possession and drive alive. It was no problem for Notre Dame. Pressure came. They're not going to elect to kick it. They know that their offense is better than the play that just happened, and they proved it right there. Ian Book running all over this Syracuse defense today. That's definitely been their weakness, is Ian Book being deadly on the ground and using his arm. Ian Book, only 2 interceptions on the year, one of them credited to Jihad Carter. Handoff up the middle now, and getting about 6 that time will be Kyron Williams back into the game for the Irish. 2nd down and medium will be this next play. 7:12 left to go. Clock continues to wind. Syracuse trails it 24-14. There's an injured Orangeman on the field as well. The injured Syracuse players, defensive lineman Kevin Darton, redshirt freshman out of Massachusetts, Worcester Academy for Syracuse. And he's injured, and they will attend to him, the training staff. We'll take a quick break here on Orange Sheet. Syracuse trails it 24-14. Notre Dame with a drive going inside Syracuse territory. So we'll be right back on Orange Sheet. Welcome back here on Orange Sheet. Handoff up the middle. Williams will get maybe 1. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for Notre Dame, deep in Syracuse territory, just under 7 minutes to go. And Rex Culpepper, his second fumble of the day, coughing up the ball. Injured Syracuse player Robert Hanna down on the field right now, and that's the last thing Syracuse can afford. It's the last game of the season, but even still, injuries have been plentiful and have really been what is a leading charge of this Syracuse tough season, 1-9. And Rex Culpepper fumbled the ball away, and now Notre Dame looking like they very well might score. It's third down. Syracuse needs a stop. Jihad Carter with a phenomenal interception on Ian Book, and still not able to do anything with it was Syracuse. So we'll take a very minor break as they attend to this injury on Robert Hanna. We'll be right back. Welcome back here on Orange Heat. Third down and 3. Ian Book escapes. A lot of pressure from Syracuse. Scrambling. First down, plenty more. Touchdown, Notre Dame. No problem for Ian Book. Pressure came. He got away from it. That's been the story of the day for the Fighting Irish as they extend what was a 10-point lead, tacking on another touchdown. It's an 8-play, 53-yard drive, and it only took 3.5 minutes off the clock. Ian Book, another big touchdown for the Fighting Irish. Was good blitz for Syracuse up the middle, and everyone swarms around Ian Book. He's just able to escape and make the play on his feet. And Notre Dame tacks on another touchdown to the board. So a PAT here for the Fighting Irish. This would make it a 31-14 ball game, and it is good. Through the uprights it goes. 31-14 is the lead for Notre Dame, and what a different game this could be if the Syracuse offense could just hang on to the football. 3 costly turnovers is what it's been for Syracuse. Aaron Hackett coughed up a fumble. Rex Culpepper with 2 of them. And now Notre Dame has had a response for every opportunity the Syracuse offense has had of them. Jihad Carter with a huge interception for the Syracuse defense, but it proves to be not worthy of much because Rex Culpepper gave it away on the next play. Notre Dame capitalizes. It's 31-14 advantage for the Fighting Irish. So we'll be right back on Orange Heat. Take a quick break. Notre Dame, big lead over Syracuse. Welcome back here on Orange Sheet. Fair catch called for and made. So Syracuse will take it at their own 25-yard line. Nykeem Johnson elects to make a fair catch, and Notre Dame leads it 31-14 over Syracuse. Turnovers have been costly, to say the least, for Syracuse right now. Syracuse coughing it up 3 times. Aaron Hackett with one of them, 2 of them to Rex Culpepper. And it could be a very different game at this point because this Syracuse defense is playing very well against Notre Dame, forcing them to third down nearly every possession, a couple of times at least. Handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker driving his way forward. This is a 10-yard push for Syracuse, and it looks like it'll be an orange first down. That was incredible because the halt started at the line of scrimmage, 10 yards to go. And the line pushes them all the way 10 whole yards. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. So it looks like it'll be a first down for Syracuse off the push, and that was an entertaining little play of football. But the turnovers have been costly for Syracuse. Otherwise, they'd find themselves deeper into this game. Handoff up the middle, Sean Tucker again. So they called it short. It was 2nd down and 1. Now no problem for Tucker. Gain of about 3. Syracuse can go ahead and move the chains. 5:45 left to go in the third quarter of action. As I said, Notre Dame leads at 31-14, and Syracuse still lingering in this ball game a little bit. Certainly we're only down 10 after a Jihad Carter interception. The offense got it, and then all of a sudden, it was a takeaway. And Rex Culpepper coughs it up. I just see a quick comment. I usually don't attend to them too much. Real quick, 1 second. Rex Culpepper sends one deep, and this one's picked off on the right side. Notre Dame takes it away, middle of the field. Now returning it for the Fighting Irish is number 9, Dalen Hayes, a defensive lineman, takes it away for Notre Dame. And Rex Culpepper with what is his 3rd turnover today. 4th total for Syracuse. 3 times Rex Culpepper has coughed up the ball in his senior day, really. Played it last week in the Dome, was senior day, but this is probably his final go-around in a Syracuse jersey, and he gives the ball right back. So a costly play. The intended receiver was Taj Harris, and I just see the comment, as I said, You are great, great energy. Thank you so much. Oh, there it is. This is live or recording. Yeah, this is live. Do it every game, every Syracuse football game, every Syracuse basketball game, and going to extend as well. Do some NFL, other college basketball, other college football, NBA, even dabble into some UFC. A lot of different stuff. I have a partner that I usually do a lot of it with, Kyle Marshak. I do some of it on my own. I do a lot with him. He couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately, but he's very talented as well. So I appreciate him, and absolutely. But yeah, tune in anytime. We do it every single Syracuse game, football and basketball, and we're going to expand as well in the near future now that Syracuse football is coming to a conclusion. But I appreciate the support. Now back to football. The Golden Domers lead it over Syracuse, now 31-14. Rex Culpepper gives away a big one. So a handoff to the left side. Fatu Melifonwu is there to take down Kyron Williams, 2 yards shy of the line of scrimmage. So that's a tackle for loss on the stat sheet for Fatu Melifonwu. He's a guy that I could see leaving for the National Football League. Really kind of in the mix. Trill Williams elected to go and opt out the rest of this year. Andre Sisco, preseason All-American, elects to do the same. Those guys will probably be drafted. Fatu Melifonwu, very talented, finishes out the year, has the opportunity. This is his 3rd year, redshirt sophomore. Ian Book dishes one off to the left side. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage. The intended receiver was Kyron Williams, and it hits the turf. It was 3rd down. It's 4th down and 9 now. Out the punting unit will trot. 3:50 left to go in the third quarter. So Syracuse's defense comes up with a stop. They're still in this game, but Notre Dame has extended the lead every opportunity Syracuse has given them to do so. It's been extremely evident how talented this Notre Dame offense can be. It's going to be a 50-yard field goal attempt. So this is a long one. A 50-yarder now for Notre Dame, and the kicker, Jonathan Dorer, has one earlier today. This one is way right. So not even close for Notre Dame. Syracuse dodges a bullet. Dorer couldn't get it to go, and 3:44 left to play. The Orange offense will get it back. The problem is for Syracuse is can their quarterback hang on to the ball? 2 fumbles today and an interception. It's been frustrating to say the least for Syracuse fans. Last week, as much as we love Rex Culpepper, the success story of defeating cancer, last week, spikes the ball on 4th down with a chance to win the game in the red zone against NC State. Spikes the ball on 4th down. Today, 3 turnovers so far in a game that Syracuse really is still in, but should be much more in, if not winning. I mean, they are playing great football besides those couple of mistakes. Handoff up the middle. Sean Tucker gets swallowed up in the backfield here. Big play out of the Notre Dame defense going the other way, and the Irish give it right back to them. Drew White, the linebacker, comes up to make the play. Ian Book, 8 total touchdowns in his last 2 games. 4 passing, 4 rushing. Absolutely incredible. He's gashed Syracuse on the ground today. Jihad Carter came away with only Ian Book's 2nd interception this season. Comes all the way in the final game number 10 on the season. Pass intended to the right side. Sean Tucker on 2nd and 13. Couldn't get there. Rex Culpepper led him a little too far over his head. Tucker had a big 40-yard gash earlier in this one to draw Syracuse within 10 at that point. I see a comment here. I appreciate the support as always. Thank you so much. Check in anytime. And that bet is definitely a big one. I really hope you don't have to cancel Christmas. It was a big spread. Just to mention it, I mentioned it earlier today. It was a 34-point spread in favor of Notre Dame. That's huge. That's a very big spread. Syracuse had a big spread against them on the road at Clemson. That didn't shake out. Syracuse kept that one close, only trailing by 6 going into the 4th quarter of that game. And you know what coughed it up was a fumble by Rex Culpepper. That's been the story this season that Syracuse fans have dealt with. Nonetheless, still a fan favorite. As I said, the incredible, inspirational story of defeating cancer. It's a tough relationship right now with their quarterback. 4th and 11. Syracuse already facing a punting situation. Nolan Cooney comes out, senior on Syracuse, getting his final boots. And this one's caught at the 20-yard line. Making a move upfield are the Fighting Irish. That time the return man back deep. They're really changing him around here at the moment. But that time it was Matt Salemo for Notre Dame, wide receiver. 6 foot, 196-pound junior out of California. And he got a chance right there for Notre Dame. So Brian Kelly mentioned at halftime he'd love to really switch things around a little bit here, get some of his younger guys in a little bit of experience, but he still wants to keep these starters fresh. An ACC championship coming up in a couple of weeks. No matter what happens today, Notre Dame has saved themselves a bid there. Tonight, it's Virginia Tech and Clemson. Clemson with a win would go to the ACC championship. Ian Book looking deep this time, nearly intercepted. Afatu Melifonwu wouldn't be fooled that time. The intended receiver, Javon McKinley, and he had a moss over Afatu Melifonwu earlier today for a touchdown. Melifonwu wouldn't let it happen again. Hearing a flag, there is one. And it's roughing the passer against Syracuse. Jeff Canton-Arcu. Penalties, turnovers, everything has added up to why Syracuse trails today to the Fighting Irish. Great coverage by Melifonwu, nearly intercepting that ball, but you can't come in and hit the quarterback like that. And that's a freshman mistake for Jeff Canton-Arcu. It is his sophomore year, creating that Canadian pipeline out of Quebec, Canada for Syracuse, but that was a rookie move right there from the sophomore. So 2:05 left to go. 1st down and 10 for Notre Dame. After that, ball's at the 47-yard line. Handoff to the right side. Williams breaks a couple of tackles now with a burst of speed across the 30-yard line before being knocked out of bounds by Afatu Melifonwu. But gashing the Orange on the ground was Kyron Williams once again. Now, a minute 45 to go in the third. Handoff again, Kyron Williams. This time he rumbles his way forward about 4 yards to gain. Second down and 6 will be coming up here for Notre Dame, well into Syracuse territory at this point. That's been the story today. Notre Dame successful on the ground, whether it be the quarterback running the football or the running backs running the football. Syracuse has gotten this team into some tricky third down situations, and then Notre Dame just really seems to rely on the shoulders of Ian Book, who's able to pick up a lot of it with his legs, and a couple of times it's resulted in a touchdown. Ian Book again. Second down and 6. Lets one fly for the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Irish. Oh, my goodness, give it to him. The third touchdown on the day for Giovanni McKinley. He's been sensational. It's a 3-play, 68-yard drive, and it only took a minute off the clock. Notre Dame really punching Syracuse in the mouth here. Giovanni McKinley laying out for it. Garrett Williams in coverage deep for Syracuse. But McKinley is a big man back there. And it was no problem for the Fighting Irish. They extend this lead. A PAT would make it a 38-14 score with a minute left in the third quarter. PAT up right down the middle. So the score now 38-14. Still a minute left in the third. Then we'll move on to the fourth. But Giovanni McKinley, not a single touchdown in the first 9 games of this season. Today, he has 3. And a grad student here for Notre Dame having himself one heck of a senior day. So we'll take a quick break here on Orange Heat. Notre Dame extends this lead 38-14 over the Orange. And it's been one heck of a third quarter for the Fighting Irish. And now Notre Dame to kick it off to Syracuse. Nykeem Johnson back deep to return. He signals a fair catch, and he lets it bounce out of the back of the end zone. So a minute 07 left to play on the clock for Syracuse. They trail it by a big margin, and this game could have been a lot different minus a couple of things, but you can't discredit 3 touchdowns on the day for Giovanni McKinley, having himself one heck of a ball game for the Fighting Irish. Really just going over the Syracuse secondary, manhandling what Syracuse has to offer. And the secondary has been strong. They've come away with an interception today. But any time that the ball has been thrown in the direction of McKinley, it's been a positive play for the Irish. 7 receptions, 111 yards, and 3 tutties so far today. First down and 10 for Syracuse, their own 25-yard line. Sean Tucker, run to the right side. He had a 40-yard touchdown run earlier today. Not the case here. Loses 1, maybe taken down at the line of scrimmage if he's lucky. It'll be second down and just about the same for Syracuse. We'll take a look at some scores around the country at our next break, as there's some interesting games taking place all across college football. Some big ones tonight as well. Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Virginia Tech, to name a few. Rex Culpepper drops back, pass to the left side, complete Anthony Quealy. He nearly lost the ball. He gets around one defender, and it's a first down, Syracuse. Give him 14 out of the 13 that he needed. Anthony Quealy with a great positive play for the Orange. And that's a good pitch and catch between Rex Culpepper and his sophomore wide receiver. Syracuse going again. Wide receiver screen out to the right side, Nykeem Johnson, and he's taken down right at the line of scrimmage. A couple of Notre Dame tacklers in on the play. 11 seconds left in the third, and it looks like Syracuse will take this one to the fourth quarter. For 3, 2 seconds, and 1. So that's exactly what the Orange will elect to do here. Take this game to the third quarter. Notre Dame, after 3 quarters of play, 38-14 advantage over Syracuse, and they've played very well. Giovanni McKinley's had himself one heck of a game at wideout with 3 touchdowns, 111 yards off of 7 receptions. But Syracuse has really given Notre Dame this game at this point. 4 total turnovers, and just simply hasn't been able to produce well offensively. So we'll take a quick break here on Orange Heat, as they will on the TV network as well, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Syracuse trails Notre Dame 38-14 as we head into the fourth. And welcome back here on Orange Heat. We're at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish lead over the Syracuse Orange. Score currently 38-14 as we enter the fourth quarter. Syracuse starts it off with a run up the middle. Sean Tucker gets a couple. It'll be third down for Syracuse, 3rd and 8 to be exact, just like that. Turnovers, costly, and they have been the story today for the Orange. As I've mentioned, 4 in total. Rex Culpepper guilty for 3 of them. An interception and a pair of fumbles, and they couldn't have come at more inopportune times. 3rd down and 8. Culpepper sends one to the left side. This time it is too low, intended for Anthony Queeley, the sophomore wideout. It drops too low below his knees, and Syracuse will send Nolan Cooney out to punt this away. So Notre Dame will get the ball back here with 14-11 left in the fourth quarter, wondering when Brian Kelly will start to call off the dogs, so to speak, and send out some of his reserves here, as he would love to keep his team healthy. It's no doubt about it that Notre Dame has a chance to play for the ACC championship game at this point. This one is fumbled, and a huge hit here for Syracuse. A fair catch was called for and made on the punt from Nolan Cooney. Coming in to lay the hit for Syracuse was Kyle Strickland on the special teams unit. And making the fair catch for Notre Dame that time was Matt Salamo again, and he got absolutely drilled here. It looks like there will be targeting, as Strickland absolutely lays out Milano, and you see the golden dome of that helmet, the chrome plating just absolutely flying off the helmet. Targeting is called. They're going to review it, but it is no doubt helmet-to-helmet contact. as that was a huge hit. And it wasn't Kyle Strickland. Strickland also wears 22, but it was actually Mackenzie Pierre laying the hit. They both wear 22, and what a hit. But it's costly, and again, it's a tough Syracuse break right there, because that's going to be 15 yards for Notre Dame. Mackenzie Pierre will be out for the rest of this ball game, which will bring his season to a close. That's no doubt about it. That's a penalty. I just keep looking at it, and the golden flakes fly. I mean, it's very clear that the crown of the helmet just goes right into the face mask that time of Milano for Notre Dame. So just like that, we'll take another quick break here on Orange Sheet, and we'll be right back. So it is confirmed that it is targeting, and that Notre Dame Milano in the backfield for Notre Dame on the punt return got the potluck knocked right out of him that time by Mackenzie Pierre, but it's certainly costly. A targeting call against the Orange. That's 15 yards. That means Mackenzie Pierre's season has come to a close, unless, of course, they do get into a bowl game. The academic eligibility is actually what is required this year instead of the normal 6 wins, in which case Syracuse is very good academically. So there's a chance, but I personally don't think so. I think wins will play a factor for sure. Pass to the right side. Incomplete that time for Ian Book. He was intending his other big tight end here for Notre Dame, Brock Wright. That's his first target of the day, 6 foot, 215 pounds, and he couldn't come down with it. So 3rd down and 8, just like that. The Syracuse defense has performed well today for the most part. The offense hasn't helped them out. Ian Book has been very good on 3rd and long, though. 13:20 to go. 38-14 lead for Notre Dame. Ian Book drops back on 3rd and 8. Lets one fly this time. It's complete past the sticks to gain. Give Notre Dame another first down, and that time it was a nice catch by Ben Swarnick for the Fighting Irish, and it's a first down going the other way. Afatu Melifonwu in on the tackle for Syracuse, but it's again a big lead for Notre Dame, and the sticks will move. 12:51 left to go here. Schronak's had a big game today, 4 receptions, 71 total yards. Ian Book Play action fake, rolling out to the right side, lets one fly to the right. This time it's incomplete. Garrett Williams in coverage for Syracuse. He knocked it away from the intended receiver, Braden Lenzy, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Notre Dame. .12:36 left to go. Clock stops here in South Bend, Indiana for Notre Dame. 2nd down and 10. One receiver to the right, one to the left. Hand off to the left side. Williams with a receiver to the right, one to the left. Hand off to the left side. Williams with a shifty move. A 1st down, crossing the 50-yard line, nearing the 45. He's taken down at about the 46. But Kyron Williams juked out 2 Syracuse players in the secondary, and he had no problem gaining a 1st down that time. The sophomore is having himself one heck of a day. He's the first Notre Dame sophomore since 2005 with over 1,000 yards rushing in a season, and he did it on that last play. Over 1,000 yards goes Kyron Williams on the season. It's been one heck of a year for him and this Irish squad. Now another handoff up the middle here for Notre Dame, and a gain of about 3 that time. The ball carrier for the Fighting Irish, Cabot Flemister. This is his first set of carries today, and that's a sign that head coach Brian Kelly is kind of calling off the dogs a little bit here. Flemister's first carry today, and it looks like Kyron Williams' day may come to a close. Not the season, though, like on the other side with the opposition. Notre Dame, an ACC championship in a couple weeks, and possibly a college football playoff berth. Handoff up the middle, and a gain of about maybe 3-4 that time for Cabot Flemister again. 11:22 continues to wind away. 3rd down, Notre Dame, 38-14 advantage over Syracuse. And the offensive line is held well for Notre Dame today, whether it's Ian Book dropping back to pass. Syracuse, only 1 sack today on this Notre Dame offense. 3rd and 4. Ian Book in the shotgun as he's been all day. 2 receivers stacked to the right, 2 to the left as well. Pass, wide receiver screen to the right side, and Syracuse is there to take it away. Josh Black on the tackle for the Orange. Houston Griffith was the receiver for the Irish, and it's 4th down. Ian Book shaking his head, knew they should have had that one. Should have been read a little bit differently. The wide receiver screen goes nowhere, and Josh Black on his final game in an orange jersey was all over that one. 10:15 left to go. 4th down and 8. The Fighting Irish will punt it away for Syracuse. I'd assume Nykeem Johnson back deep to return. And Johnson calls for a fair catch. This bounces behind him. And Notre Dame is there to down this one at the 1-yard line. Isaiah Pryor was back there to do it. And the punt that time by Jay Bromblett was huge for Notre Dame. So Syracuse will take over. Rex Culpepper and company will have it at the 1-yard line. A huge punt. The Fighting Irish, a 38-15 advantage. We'll be right back here on Orange Sheet. Before I send you away for a quick break, I will remind everybody, Syracuse and Rider men's basketball tonight, tipping off at 7 o'clock inside the Dome. I'll be on the call for that one as well. So after this, head over to another live stream and watch as Syracuse plays Rider in men's basketball, a big one for the Orange, an opportunity to go 3-0 on the season, and Syracuse fans certainly have the spotlight on basketball season right now. So following the conclusion of this game, take a little break, eat a snack. Then at 7 o'clock, we'll get the stream started at about 6:50, 6:55 inside the Dome as Syracuse takes on Rider. All right, we'll take a quick break here on Orange Sheet, and thanks so much for joining us. Welcome back here on Orange Sheet. Notre Dame leads it over Syracuse 38-14 right now. Clock continues to wind inside 10 minutes to go, about 9.5. And on first down, Syracuse will run up the middle. Sean Tucker with a burst of speed. He'll get about 6. So it'll be second down. They call it second down and 5. Syracuse started with it at their own 1 yard line. Handoff, Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker breaks another tackle, rumbling his way down the left sideline, crossing the 25-yard line, taken out of bounds at the 27. Sean Tucker having himself a phenomenal game on the ground for Syracuse here today. And he gets Syracuse out of a tough predicament. They were backed up at their own 1 yard line. Sean Tucker takes it all the way out to the 27 on 3 runs in a row, really. Dino Babers, hot seat conversation here. 4-8, 4-8, 5-7, 10-3. And last year it was 5-7, and now back. Sean Tucker swallowed up well behind the line of scrimmage. He'll lose about 5 this time, a swarm. Notre Dame tacklers, 8:43 left to go. It'll be 2nd and 15 for Syracuse. But Dino Babers, 4-8, 4-8, 10-3. And last year, the disappointment of 5-7. You lose Eric Dungy, you lose everybody like that. And now Syracuse, a 1-9 season so far, and it looks like it'll move on to 1-10 if the game stays this way. Syracuse, a lot of injuries this year, a lot of opt-outs, dealing with a lot, but 1-9 is as tough as it gets. Rex Culpepper, play action fake, pass to the right side. Taj Harris makes the catch, and he is taken out of bounds that time. In coverage for Notre Dame was Clarence Lewis. Taj Harris got maybe 5 or 6. It'll be third down for Syracuse. And the clock stops as Taj Harris waltzes out of bounds. Syracuse, 71% of their roster right now is underclassmen. Absolutely crazy. Third down and 7 for Syracuse. Culpepper, 7.5 minutes to go. Drops back. No help back there. Pressure coming. Pass complete. Chris Elmore makes it. He rumbles his way near the first down marker, and he's driven out of bounds. So he won't get to the sticks to gain. Chris Elmore, his first reception on the season this year. And Chris Elmore, what a story on him. Playing offensive line, left guard this year. Played tight end at one point, played fullback, needed someone to step up this season. He answered the call. Just the best teammate out there. And he's the first to celebrate with Sean Tucker in the end zone, lifting him up. And he was the reason for that big run. Came across all the way from the left guard spot to make a huge block. And that opened up Sean Tucker's 40-yarder, as they just showed on the screen. 7:30 left. It's 4th down and 2, and you'd have to assume that Syracuse is going to give the ball back to the Irish here. Notre Dame leads it 38-14. 7 o'clock tip-off inside the Dome. Syracuse basketball taking on Rider. So head on over to a separate line one, as Syracuse will take on Rider basketball in the Dome. So just like that, we'll take another quick break here on Orange Heat. Syracuse trailing Notre Dame 38-14 as the game starts to dwindle away here in South Bend. Welcome back here on Orange Heat. Syracuse Nolan Cooney punts it away, and a fair catch is called for and made at the 22-yard line for Notre Dame. That's where they'll take over. 7:17 to go. Clock is stopped for the moment. It's a 38-14 advantage for Notre Dame, and penalties have been costly for Syracuse. Turnovers have been costly for Syracuse. Quarterback Rex Culpepper responsible for a total of 3 of them. 4 overall for Syracuse so far today. And it's been a game that Syracuse fans, though this was expected, definitely a season. It's unfortunately that it's a season to forget. 1-9, looking to be 1-10 at this point. Notre Dame, a chance to go play in the ACC championship and possibly a national championship. Now, it's looking like it could be the rematch between Notre Dame and Clemson from earlier this year, in which Notre Dame won it in overtime here in South Bend. Clemson has Virginia Tech tonight. Pitch to the right side, and Syracuse takes down the tailback in the backfield. Kingsley Jonathan, the tackle. The ball carrier that time for the Irish was number 25, Chris Tyree. He's had some burn today. But as I was saying, the ACC Championship, December 19th in Charlotte, North Carolina. College football playoffs start on New Year's Day. And the national championship is scheduled for the 11th in Miami, Florida at Hard Rock Stadium. But Clemson playing Virginia Tech today, I'm going to call it. I'm going to say Virginia Tech in an upset. That would take Clemson out of the college football playoff conversation. That would also take them out. Rumbling his way, it's a Notre Dame touchdown. 80-plus yards to the house for Chris Tyree. Notre Dame extends the lead big here in South Bend. Chris Tyree, the ball carrier. It's a 2-play, 87-yard drive, and it only takes 52 seconds off the clock. (44-14) for Notre Dame. Could be 45-14. Notre Dame now up by 30. 6:25 left to go. This PAT would make it a 31-point game. It's up. It's good. No problem that time. Notre Dame, a huge advantage over Syracuse. Chris Tyree, 94-yard touchdown rush. And Syracuse didn't stand a chance. So this game is all but over here in South Bend, and looking forward to the Syracuse basketball game later tonight for sure. And Clemson, a win tonight would set the championship game, and you get a rematch against Notre Dame. And a loss tonight would make a situation where Miami has a chance to get in. And what they would have to do is they'd have to win today, then win again next week, and Clemson would have to lose tonight. So Miami can still be in the ACC championship. They need some help from Virginia Tech tonight. The Hokies, a big one at Lane Stadium. No Enter Sandman, unfortunately, this week. They'll play it, but there won't be any stands full. Nearly a 70,000-seat stadium, the best environment in college football, is Enter Sandman, the entrance for the Virginia Tech Hokies, and that will not be the case tonight. They'll play it, as I said, and they'll run out of the tunnel to it, but it won't be earth-shaking. It's an entrance that has shown up on the Richter scale multiple times as everyone jumps up and down to the tune of Metallica. So Syracuse to receive the kick. A whistle is blown. Chris Elmore was the one that made the catch, so it was a short kick. Not too short. It made it all the way back to about the 20-yard line. Chris Elmore was the one that came up with it, but it was a fair catch, so that's where Syracuse will take it at about the 20-ish yard line. Notre Dame, 2 weeks to prep for either Clemson or Miami. .625 left to go. It's going to be first down and 10 for Syracuse. We'll see if Culpepper's the one to come out again for the Orange. And instead, they're going to get a new guy in there at quarterback for Syracuse. True freshman Dylan Markowitz now in under center. Shotgun formation, handoff up the middle. Cooper Lutz, he gets halted right at the line of scrimmage. So 6:18 to go. It's second down for Syracuse. Lutz goes nowhere. Markowitz now in the game for the Orange, and Notre Dame leads at 45-14, 6:10 left to go. Rex Culpepper, what you would expect to be his final snaps in his Syracuse jersey. Not the best performance today. Markowitz, 6'5", 216 pounds out of McKinney, Texas for Syracuse, 3-star recruit. 5:50 on the clock, continues to wind down. Markowitz, second down and 9. Claps his hands, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Cooper Lutz, a burst of speed. Cooper Lutz has Green in front of him. The 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and a touchdown, Syracuse. Cooper Lutz takes it the distance. An incredible play on the ground for Syracuse. First a 40-yarder for Sean Tucker, and now Cooper Lutz takes it all the way down the field. A 2-play, 81-yard drive, and Syracuse has a response. What a play out of Cooper Lutz. Great blocking ahead, and it was just Green in front. Incredible. The PAT, Andre Schmidt, through the uprights and good. Cooper Lutz draws this one a little closer. Syracuse now trailing 45-21. Syracuse rushing yards a game. 78 rushing yards a game this season. 4th fewest in FBS. Today, 206 rushing yards against the number 2 team in the country. So for whatever reason, the ground game has been strong for the Orange today, the strongest it's ever been this season. Cooper Lutz takes it deep to the house. Head coach Dino Babers coming on to congratulate him as well as his teammates, and that was a big run that time out of Cooper Lutz for Syracuse, a redshirt sophomore out of Reading, Pennsylvania, 6 foot, 201-pounder, and he had Green in front. So 5.5 minutes to go. Notre Dame leads it 45-21, and then maybe Syracuse can get a turnover here and make something happen. It's a big advantage right now for Notre Dame, though. But Syracuse playing well offensively. Sorry about that. So now Ian Book, the question mark is if he will come out at quarterback. Maybe Brian Kelly saves him, maybe not. Make sure this game's on ice. Could be the situation. Syracuse still within a handful of touchdowns. Now Nolan Cooney to kick it off for the Orange. Maybe his last kickoff. Who knows? This one's sent deep, and bobbling it that time was the return man back deep. And it was the guy that ran it all the way down the field for a touchdown just minutes ago for Notre Dame. And it goes out of the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Ian Book and company will come out and take it at their own 25-yard line. Chris Tyree was the one who almost couldn't handle it. But all is well. Notre Dame with a big lead over Syracuse. (45-21) lead for Notre Dame. Just about 5.5 minutes to go here. 5:33 in South Bend, Indiana, at Notre Dame Stadium. Ian Book still in the ball game for the Fighting Irish. Pretty stacked offensive line. It's going to be a handoff to the left side. Gaining 9, 10. Give him 15 that time. A big run by Sabo Flamister. But there is a flag, and it looks like it'll be holding against Notre Dame. So that's a 10-yard penalty. It'll be second down and 20. .5:26 left. Ian Book saying to his coach he wants to enjoy every last second of this home game right now. It's his senior day at Notre Dame Stadium. 5:16 to go. Clock continues to wind. It's first down and 20 for Notre Dame. 12 seconds left on the play clock. Ball snapped. Handoff to the right side. Chris Tyree gets maybe 4. And he's driven back by Garrett Williams as well as a couple of other Syracuse defenders. It'll be second down and 14, 15, probably 16 to go for Notre Dame. But Brian Kelly elects to call a timeout here. Clock resets, 5:03 left to go, and we'll take a quick break here on Orange Heat. We'll be right back. Notre Dame leads at 45-21 over Syracuse. Welcome back in South Bend as Ian Book comes out off the field in his final game at Notre Dame Stadium, now in at quarterback for Notre Dame to close out this ball game. Number 10, Drew Pine, 5'11", 194-pound freshman out of New Canaan, Connecticut. And actually, funny story, handoff up the middle, rumbling his way forward that time again is going to be Chris Tyree. But Drew Pine, I met another broadcaster from Connecticut. His name is Ian, very talented. And he goes to New Canaan, Connecticut High School. And Drew Pine was the quarterback at his school, and now a freshman at Notre Dame, and looked at to be the guy to take over for Ian Book. So very just a cool sequence of events there to know somebody who knows Drew Pine. Interesting there. But now he's in at quarterback. About 4.5 minutes to go. Third down and 4 for Drew Pine and Notre Dame. Handoff up the middle. First down and more. Chris Tyree nearing the 40-yard line. Still in Notre Dame territory, but Chris Tyree converts on first down. And Notre Dame moves the chains to try and chew out the rest of this clock. Brian Kelly congratulating his quarterback, Ian Book, as the Fighting Irish are going to head on to an ACC championship game in Charlotte, North Carolina, either against the Clemson Tigers or the Miami Hurricanes. We'll see later tonight. That will be the answer for the most part. A Clemson loss would mean Miami has a chance, but they'd have to win again next week. Today, Miami's playing on the ACC network, and maybe don't count out Duke. So, now it would be Clemson or Miami today, and then another one next week. I see some comments just talking about the hot seat of Dino Babers, and to address that, just really opt out. Your starting quarterback gets hurt. I mean, just look what you're playing with, right? I don't think you can hold the COVID season of 2020 against any coach. But with that being said, I think if next year there isn't serious improvement, there's cause for concern. The bright side, this defense is very talented, and the recruiting class continues to replenish for the defense. I think there's brightness ahead with the fact a lot of young guys are getting in-game experience right now. I'm talking guys like Amon Greenwood, guys like Garrett Williams, guys like Michael Jones, who's been a monster for Syracuse. He's going to play on Sundays after next season, I guarantee it. Just Robert Hanna. I mean, all of them. They're all so young. 71.6% of this team right now on the field every game for the entirety is underclassmen, whether that's a freshman or a sophomore. So, I think that Syracuse finds themselves in a situation where if next year's a failure again, then we can talk. The other unfortunate thing is I read an article. According to the article, it would cost Syracuse $17 million to buy out Dino Babers' contract because they signed a big one after you have a 10-win season. Everyone thinks this is the guy of our future. I mean, Syracuse fans were clamoring at the fact that they wanted Dino Babers signed long-term. People were scared that he was going to go on to a place like Baylor or a bigger program at a bigger school, a bigger football school, I should say. So we paid, the university paid him the money to stay. And that's what Syracuse fans were calling for at the time. Now they're calling for his head. Well, you got what you wanted then. And now Dino Babers, it would cost him about $17 million to buy out. So I also think he would finish his tenure in that situation because the university doesn't have that money, to be honest. And it would be foolish to spend that kind of money to hire another coach. So we'll see what happens. The recruiting is good, but a guy like Tommy doesn't pan out. But then you have NFL caliber guys on the defense. The question is, why is the defense so good and the offense isn't? Well, the offensive coordinator after the year we won 10 games left. Sterling Gilbert maybe isn't the answer this year for Syracuse. This is his first year as the SU offensive coordinator. Tony White's 3-3-5 is proving to be dominant. I mean, besides trouble stopping the run this year, Syracuse has been one of the best teams in the country at forcing turnovers. So there's a lot up in the air. Nonetheless, the record's 1-9, and I can't say much for that. There's not much I can do to oppose that. So it's a tough question. I think next year Dino's on the hot seat if we don't see some serious improvement, but I think it's hard to hold this year against him, to say the least. But Syracuse going to go 1-10 on the season. Play continues here at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish lead it 45-21 over Syracuse. Just about a minute left to go here, and that'll be the final broadcast from us here for the Syracuse football season. And it's sad to say, we always look forward to it. I personally very much so look forward to football season. 1:09 left to go, first down and 10. Markowitz pass is tipped away at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't get it to the intended receiver. It was Nykeem Johnson. That's going to be his final game today as well in a Syracuse jersey. Tipped away at the line again by Ovi Ofogu for Notre Dame. This has been a game dominated the Fighting Irish, but Syracuse were in it for a long time and had a lot of opportunities, took some takeaways defensively, a fumble taken away, an interception by Jihad Carter, but the offense just couldn't do anything with it. Cooper Lutz, 13-yard rush up the middle. He had an 82-yarder just a bit ago. It's been a tough game for Syracuse. Notre Dame 42 seconds left. Handoff. Cooper Lutz left side. Makes a man miss. Gets taken down. It'll be second down. 39 on the play clock. 32 left on the game clock. As I said, I look forward to, Syracuse, to football every year. I love it. I am in the minority that actually looks really, really, really forward to football season. Not more than basketball season, but a whole lot. I love Syracuse football. We are season ticket holders, so usually we're at all the games. So yeah, that'll do it. Clock continues to wind down, and it's over. Notre Dame has no problem handling Syracuse. Final score 45-21 here in South Bend, Indiana. And that'll do it on the season for Syracuse football. A 1-10 finish for the Orange. That is as rock bottom as it gets. On the other side, a perfect record, 10-0, 30th career win for quarterback Ian Book as the head man for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So they'll see an ACC championship. Syracuse will watch the ACC championship game from home. Well, that'll do it today for our broadcast. I see the comment about a Patreon. Unfortunately, I just do this because I love it. I do it because I want to go to college for it. I want to make a career out of it. It's just there's nothing I love more than calling games and sports broadcasting. So I appreciate it, but that will not be needed. But good luck. Have a Merry Christmas for sure. And I'm glad you didn't lose out on your big bet for Syracuse. Always bet on the orange, I guess. But thank you so much, everyone that tuned in. It was a good one today. Syracuse fought hard. Season comes to a close at a 1-10 record. And we'll see you right back here at 7 o'clock tip-off for Syracuse basketball. We'll see you on a separate live stream once again to remind you, a separate live stream for Syracuse basketball as they take on Rider. But today, the final score from South Bend, Indiana, right here, 45-21. Notre Dame takes it. My name is Giovanni Heater. It's been a pleasure tonight, and everybody, have a safe one.